Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Post-Game Spread. This is going to be the Brad Selinger Story. I am so happy to bring this to you guys. I think this is going to be a real treat to the Springfield community. Brad had an absolutely interesting ride through baseball, through football. I can remember watching him coming up and just being in absolute awe of his arm, of how he spun a football. For those of you that don't know, Brad was a big-time quarterback at SHG. Like I said, a humongous arm, known for his arm, known for his toughness, known for his being funny and being a great teammate. And then ended up at Lindenwood University at the time as a quarterback, realized that probably wasn't his path moving forward. Decided to come home, spent a year at SCI, discovered that he had mid-90s in his arm, dominating for the Rifles before getting picked up by Washington State, which at the time was unheard of for someone in Central Illinois to be picked up by a Power 4 conference like that. Going out there, seeing some of the best baseball in the country, arm kind of fell apart out there. But then, just what life was like for him going through all that. And we heard from some awesome Springfield people throughout this. I talked to Josh Alote, Sam Madonia, Matt Brewer, Jack Holland, Kenny Burns, Coach Ken Leonard, Coach Steve Torricelli, Travis Scott, and then last but not least, the lovely Lindsay Selinger, his wife. And I just had a great conversation with this guy. I was told going into it was going to be all funny, but I thought he dropped some absolute dimes on knowledge in terms of sports, how he saw his own career, maybe some things he would have done differently, how he sees the sports community now and youth sports and travel ball and all that. We had an awesome conversation. We ended up going for 3.5 hours, essentially. It felt like 30 minutes to me. I wish it could have kept going. I had an absolute awesome time talking with this guy. I kind of looked up to him a little bit growing up. So really cool to get this story out there. I hope you guys all enjoy it. This is going to be the Brad Selinger Story. And now a few words from our sponsors. We are proud to be supported by Flow Yoga and Meditation, located at 1921 West Isles. Phone number 217-670-2388. Email flowsbf.com. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook. They offer Pilates, Hatha of all levels from chair to power, vinyasa, private sessions. Their mission is to create a welcoming, all-inclusive community where folks from every walk of life can connect and practice yoga, meditation in a loving, relaxed environment. We really appreciate your support. Namaste. We are proud to be backed by Salvaggio Steel. Salvaggio Safe is their motto. These guys have been in business building rails for over 60 years, and they've always been incredible about putting money into the sports community, into the athletic community in the greater Springfield, Central Illinois area. And I'm absolutely honored that they felt like I had enough, like we were doing something special enough to be invested in. So they do it all. I mean, you guys can go look at them for, doing precision craftsmanship in many categories, including structural, miscellaneous, ornamental iron. They're AISC certified. These guys are just the best in the business. We really appreciate them. This deal was also brokered by good friend John Chisholm, who works there as well. So we appreciate Salvaggio Steel, Salvaggio Safe. Thank you. We are also brought to you by BOS, Bank of Springfield, and Jason Knadler. The Bank of Springfield has essentially a whole baseball team over there. I'm talking guys like Jason Knadler, Justin Knadler, Timmy Ballin Wallen, Eric Weaver, Ryan Murphy, Murph Mathiot, Frank Stefano, Greg Morantz. I trust every single one of these guys to handle my money and to steer me in the right direction financially. There are 3 locations across the greater Springfield area for your convenience. Bank boldly with BOS. We really appreciate you guys. This episode is being brought to you by Eric Easley of the Easley Real Estate Team with the Real Estate Group. This team consists of Eric, Jamie Murphy, and Caitlin Fry. They can be reached at 217-132 at theeasleysalesteam.com. Eric was a standout quarterback and shortstop at Southeast back in the mid-90s and later starred at Western Illinois in baseball. Also one of the best umpires around this area for many years, teaming up with Bobby Erickson. He sold houses for all kinds of baseball dudes in the area. The Knadler brothers, Justin and Jason, Ryan Murphy, Todd Schneller, the Savoda family. And when it was time for Corey to sell his house and buy his new house, there's only one place he went. That's Eric Easley and the Easley Real Estate Team. So go see these guys for all your real estate needs. We really appreciate you. We are also brought to you by Matt Brewer. Matt is an attorney here in town at the law offices of Stephen Kelly. Matt exclusively practices in the areas of personal injury and workers' compensation. He can be reached at 217-544-8000 or mbrewer@stephenkelly.com. I loved competing against this guy growing up. He was an SHG grad, 2002, stud in football and baseball. Went on to star for Dan Callahan at SIU Carbondale, and then had a one-year career pitching in the Diamondbacks organization. I ran into this guy the other day. He looks like he could still lace him up. We appreciate you, Matt. A little mic etiquette here. Let's do a little test here. Get our levels right. All right.
You had O'Malley crying right out of the gate, first one.
But what's that?
O'Malley.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
special.
3 minutes in.
Oh, when he was crying?
Yeah.
You listened to that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we're gonna talk about it. So.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Yeah, no, that was special because that was when I first started using clips, and I hadn't used them the first couple episodes.
Dad talking, right?
Yeah, and like I didn't even know how it was going to react, but like I hit him with that clip, but it was his dad talking.
Oh man!
Right away, I was like, okay, I got something special here. So, all right, man, you want to roll here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Post Game Spread. I'm your host, as always, Blake Helm. Sitting across from me here is Brad Selinger. This is going to be awesome. Been wanting to do this story for a while. Let me go through a little background here of Brad before we get rolling, do my thing. So, from the well-known Selinger family, Brad played football and baseball at SHG, graduating in 2001. From there, moving on to Lindenwood as a quarterback. After a year there, decided football was no longer your path. We'll get into that. Coming back home and playing for Coach Tor at SCI, discovering that you were a low 90s guy touching mid 90s, which is incredible. Can't wait to get there. Shoving at SCI, shoved for the Springfield Rifles. I know there's some funny stories there we'll get to. Yep. Eric Weaver and that gang. And then getting picked up by Washington State Cougars, which was unique for that time period. You know, that wasn't a thing that was typically happening in those days. People from Central Illinois weren't getting picked up to go to the Pac-10 and all these big Power 5 conferences. So Washington State Cougars, where you spent 2 years kind of battling through arm stuff. Yep. And then how I know Brad, this is cool. I don't really know you for the most part, but I have been aware of you for like a long time. And I've already told you this, but you know, you were a legend to me in multiple ways until recently getting to meet you a few times. But I remember first watching you in football in high school when I was backing up Mike Jasinski, Springfield High. You would have been 2 years older than me. And I thought Jasinski had a strong arm, you know. And then I would watch Brad, and I was like, shit, like that is different. And so anyway, that, you know, intrigued me. And then saw you spinning it, elite arm. And then there's a couple legends about you coming up that are funny, I think. And one was, well, first of all, everyone knew about your arm strength. I heard that you could spiral a beer bottle. And then
That's not true.
And then I don't know why I found this so impressive, but someone in high school was like, you've never seen anyone eat a horseshoe until you see Brad Selinger demolish a horseshoe.
Well, there's certain reasons why I look the way I do today, but
I don't know why it's funny, but I remember feeling like I was impressed with that. Like, man, Brad Selinger can crush a horseshoe. So anyway, like I said, I have an affinity for strong arms. I've had, you know, some dudes on here that have some absolute cannons, the Canadlers, Mitch Trees, Walt Patton, Jamie Stash. And I always thought your story was interesting of this 5'11", 6-foot quarterback with this huge arm. You know, went to Lindenwood. You weren't an option quarterback by any means. No. So, and this was before like 6 foot 5'11" quarterbacks were kind of in vogue, right? So,
yeah, I had obviously as you and I were talking, you start to look back on some stuff and to kind of hit you with the stat line. I played 2.5 years at SHG, 40 carries for 34 yards rushing. So that tells you what type of mobility I had.
Oh man, yeah, cool. So I always wanted to know like how you went from this, you know, football guy to this baseball guy. Most of my sponsors are SHG, so I can't go wrong there. Connected with SHG, so and then a lot of times how I pick a guest, we connected maybe half a year ago. Didn't I reach out to you?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, have you on sometime? And I never really circled back. I just have so much going on. Like I usually reach out to someone and then eventually I'll circle back. And then we saw each other picking up our kids at Owen Marsh. And I was like, oh,
I figured you just did the research and you were like, yeah, this is probably not a
Not much
guest
of a
I
story
want.
there. No, not at all. But I looked for little winks from the universe, and that was my wink. And I was like, okay, it's time to do the Brad Selinger story. So here we are. In prep for this, talked to some really interesting people from your past, like I always do. Josh Alote, former receiver, or what was he, more like a tailback receiver, half?
I'll tell some funny Josh stories. He was a wideout for us, but he mostly started. He was our stud corner.
Okay.
And we did a lot of one-way,
Yeah.
Offense or defense at that time. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you some crazy Josh stories. When
He's a cop or a trooper here in town.
he's a
now?
state trooper.
Yeah, okay. Sam Madonia, man, the legendary Springfield sports voice. If you know anything about sports in the area, Sam Madonia, true legend. Matt Brewer, former receiver of yours, played baseball at SIUC, Diamondbacks. He was my workers' comp lawyer. This guy's incredible. Jack Holland, former SHG great receiver. He was funny. Kenny Burns, former SHG great running back, Indiana. Most recently, the head coach at Kent State, doing some stuff with the Big Ten Network now. Coach Ken Leonard, the legend. Longtime SHG head coach, 6-time state champ. Coach Steve Torricelli, current Lincoln Land head coach. Longtime SCI Benedictine skipper. Travis Scott, longtime pro, caught you for the Rifles, former guest, my boy. Lindsay Selinger, your wife, former Bulls cheerleader.
Yep.
We're dropping the dime on her. It used to be a secret, but it won't be anymore. So,
Yeah, she's it's pretty funny. I can even tell the story how she got to that, but I still remember when she went out for that. She called me and said, "I'm gonna try it. There's 300 ladies.
Yeah.
They're only taking I think 25." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, go ahead. That's awesome."
Let's
then
go.
she called me and she made the final 50.
like, oh wait, this might actually
And
happen.
it kind of start dropping, and you're like, but I will tell you, seeing firsthand what they had to do, the hours they worked
Yeah,
to do that stuff was out of this world.
Like a
and
true
I think she
professional
made
athlete.
like $600.
yeah. I think
I mean,
I've
it was
read that.
just-
The cheerleaders make nothing. It's more like
And
just
she
for,
was putting herself at the time that was college, but obviously she wanted to do law school and attorney. But doing that through college and then making like $600 for the amount of hours was insane.
nuts. And we were actually joking the other day about what I say. There's not many women out there that were NBA cheerleaders and also have their JD lawyers. It's quite the unicorn. And what'd you
I
tell
think
me?
you'd be surprised though.
Really?
Like, in all seriousness, because I think getting to any level, professional aspect of again, it was cheerleading, but like you have to put so much work and time and effort in, and
Yeah.
I don't want to say type A, but like you have to really be a worker to get there. So
Yeah.
a lot of that translated. She went to a couple different couple attorneys with her on the Level and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it's always a funny one to bring up.
And what did you? Please reiterate what you told me when I said, like, man, good for you for bagging an NBA cheerleader / lawyer. What we got?
Well, I was joking. So my wife and I, we've been dating since high school.
Yeah.
So I was a lot skinnier. I had hair. I was actually still halfway decent in sports.
All state guy. Yeah. Big man.
You pick them early, and then as my decline, went, hers did not.
Your
So,
stock was high.
Like now, you get a lot of people being like, "These two don't match," But you can't tell them the story. It was 25 plus years ago.
Oh man, I love it. So, what did you think when I first reached out to you and I was like, hey, would you want to come on, be a guest? Would you?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, let me back up because I think
Back it up.
since you have reached out to me, I've known you. I've followed you. Springfield. I've always had a love for Springfield athletes just to watch.
Same.
Because as a kid, they were my role models, and I could just rattle off as I kind of went through as a kid. And I had older brothers, so I also had
Right.
the older friends around, and you saw great athletes.
Absolutely.
And so you also started to admire them from different schools. Right. So I always wanted to be we were raised. My dad was a coach at Griffin High School.
Right, big layer. Legend.
So, from that aspect, I always wanted to play at SHG, but I always admired athletes from all the cities. Mm-hmm. And you get into Landford, you had Corey Erickson. My brother played ball with him, and see some of that kind of stuff. You just remember all of that stuff. So when you reached out, I knew who you were because I had watched you from baseball and football, and you were a hell of an athlete.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
But what I did is I travel a lot for work and a lot of air, flying a lot. So I just kind of start listening.
Oh, cool.
To the podcast.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing to take you back to almost childhood or growing up through I played with PJ growing up.
Yeah.
And Greg Taylor, his parents are really good friends of my parents.
You listen to Greg?
Like, Greg was like an idol of mine. He was a year older.
He's a fucking
But
special athlete.
he was a stud.
Yeah,
right. Like,
stud.
and he was a stud in like basketball. Like, he was one of those kids that dressed up, played up as a freshman.
Yeah.
I still remember him hitting a bomb in the city tournament. And I was younger, just like watching it, be like, dude, he just hit one out of Lanford Park. Like, so I listened to Greg Taylor. I have many, many memories of Ryan O'Malley.
Rhino. Yeah.
How he treated me as a underclassman.
Yeah.
So listening to O'Malley's was amazing. I was there when he pitched, at Wrigley, right behind the plate.
You were there?
Yeah, we were there.
Oh, wow.
There was a group of us. So just starting to listen to all that stuff. And then
cool.
Dusty Bensko. And
Yeah.
so I think what you've done, Blake, is out of this world, man. I think it's so awesome. And my next step, what I said was like, why you asking me to jump on?
Yeah,
Because you've had some big time athletes that have done some amazing stuff. So
here's my thoughts are, as this has continued to grow, and like I am starting to pick stories that are national and not anything to do with Central Illinois. What I'm finding is rewarding to me is when, Sam Madonia or Jim Rupert or someone here in town tells me, hey, I like what you're doing. This is cool. It doesn't mean as much to me when some random person on the internet's like, this is dope. Like, that's cool. But the people that I know and have seen and respect and look in the eye when they tell me this is awesome, I like this, this gave me some kind of therapy. It makes me want to stay and keep doing these stories here in town. So, and what's also is going to be cool is like, you're going to be doing a story next to like some big leaguer, and like the next guy I have is on is going to be a big leaguer. Yep. So like that's cool too that like I'm putting guys from my hometown on the same pedestal as some of these like upper echelon guys.
What I think just from growing up and playing with kids, watching my brothers play with kids or watching other kids just from the surrounding area, and I say just the greater Springfield area, there's so much talent in Central Illinois.
Nuts.
That there has been team after team, and obviously you're going to talk about the Statesmen, and there has been team after team of Central Illinois kids that have faced national level teams from assembled all over the place, and frankly, we've kicked their ass in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So like, there's so much talent here.
There's a pocket here that's interesting.
That's a really cool thing about Central Illinois.
And I hope we're not like overemphasizing that or looking at this in a way that's not accurate, but I think there is an interesting little pocket of athleticism here in Central Illinois, whatever this culture is. But there's been some dogs and some football, baseball. I mean, all the sports that have come out of here. Yep. So that's cool. So let's go. I want to start with let's do the Selinger name. Selinger. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go. Let's do the Sam Madonia clip here. Oh, Sammy. The family name. You ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Well, let's start off with the Selinger name. It's, kind of a special Springfield family name. His dad, Big Larry, was a legend. Can you speak on that Selinger family and why Big Larry was a legend? So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you're exactly right. If I were going to choose a family to kind of typify the North End, the Selingers would be on the short list. There's no doubt. There are other names I can think of, but certainly the Selingers. Larry was an outstanding athlete, at Bradley, high school Bradley, and so on. Came back, been a very, very good coach. There is natural competitiveness in the name, in the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were, if you wanted to have somebody as the poster child for Cathedral, for Griffin, for Sacred Heart Griffin, you couldn't choose anybody better than the Selinger family and Larry.
Okay.
And I knew his brothers very well, Bobby and Jimmy. Jimmy, as a matter of fact, he was at ISU when I was there. He was a couple years ahead of me in high school and then decided to wait before he got into education. And he moved. I think we went to ISU together a couple of weekends. I needed a ride home. He was another one of those guys that came home every weekend like I did for a couple of the last 2 years at ISU. I'd go to Springfield Junior College. Anyway, I rode home with him back and forth a lot. And, again, it just really just a lot of fun to be able to talk with the Selingers, all of them. They were all just good people.
Oh.
Can you believe that? I mean, I can't believe how great Sam Madonia sounds. He's like 80 years old or something.
It's just one of the best voices,
sharp
of all time.
Great voice, warm. Man, you got anything on the Selinger? That is a big name in Springfield. Like I've always, it's a lot of athletes have come out of that name. What you got on that Selinger name?
I think look, I think anybody's probably proud of their family.
Sure.
Right. And so, absolutely proud of being a part of the Selinger family. It's a really close knit family.
Yeah.
We just grew up like, the one uncle that Sam didn't mention might have been the best athlete. I think my dad was a pretty big time athlete.
Yeah.
I think he was all state in football, Griffin, and all city basketball.
Played football at Bradley.
In football at Bradley, I'll tell you some funny stories. It shaped my life. My decision making has been shaped by things my dad didn't do.
Okay.
But my uncle Tom, was one of the best athletes that came out of our family. He was a big dude, and my dad said he could run just as fast laterally as he could straight up and down. So like, we've had some athletes. I think the Selingers are maybe, we're probably I don't want to say tough, but we're probably willing to.
No, tough's a great word.
To do certain things a little bit quicker than others on some things, but it's I grew up with this family, man. They've shaped me for who I am, and all of us from that aspect. And you take a lot of pride in our family.
Yeah.
We grew up playing basketball and football and baseball and hockey. We would take like my dad's big sweatpants and stuff pillows down his legs so that we had goalie pads.
Oh, awesome.
Stuff like that.
Innovative.
But I'm very proud of my family name.
Yeah.
I'll tell you on my mom's side, my mom's a busher.
Okay.
And that's a really big family in the North End as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of her cousins, mayor of Springfield right now and stuff like that. But, we just came from this massive family, like the Bushers and the Selingers. And so I always had just tons of cousins. And it was like, every weekend you got together and it was just like turn the kids loose. And, we were wrestling, tackle, football, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
there's so many legends about Big Lair, too.
Yeah.
About just his toughness, like, you don't want to get on his bad side. Like, PJ asked me to ask you, like, do you have any funny Big Lair stories about when you messed up and he put you back in line?
Funny. Well, there's a whole bunch of times he probably put me back
but maybe not so
line.
funny.
What I'll say about my dad? My dad has always been everything to me, and no one's perfect, right? Like, so I'm sure there's always things that my dad would have changed or this or that, but like to me, he was like the biggest role model I ever could have had. Mm-hmm. I had him as my best man at my wedding.
Oh, that's touching.
He was a great athlete, but he was a great person. Mm-hmm. He cared about people. When people got sick, like I would go with him on the weekends, and he would just be like, "Hey, we're going to Mike Tavine's house. Like he's sick, he's got cancer. Like we're gonna go sit at his house on Sunday and watch football."
Yeah.
And I was like a little troublemaking kid, so they were like, "Hey, take him out of the house too." Like, but like he would just go around all these different people and stuff like that. But the thing that's crazy with my dad is he was a great athlete. He was a great coach. I told you this, how it kind of shaped some of the stuff for me. A lot of people, older generation will know this, but like he got offered by all sorts of schools to play Division I football quarterback. And Bradley was Division I at the time.
Yeah.
He got offered by Bear Bryant to play quarterback for Alabama.
Oh, shit.
And along with a lot of other big schools. And at the time, he chose Bradley to stay close to his girlfriend.
Really?
Who is not my mom.
So that's a regret he has.
And so it was a big regret of his. And so when we always talked about this stuff, he was like, there's not a day goes by I don't wonder, like what could have been or what could have happened or stuff like that. So I know we'll jump ahead to the Washington State stuff, but when I made a decision, I made a decision based off what my dad wouldn't have done. And I talked to him about it.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, funny stories of my dad. No, man, his bark was worse than his bite, right? Like he was a big, loud man.
Yeah.
But he was a softie in so many ways until he wasn't. Like, but that was more on behalf of us.
Oh, cool.
So my dad had a rule, like, don't ever lie. Yep. Don't ever lie to me.
Yep.
Like, and if you get accused of something and you didn't do it, then I will be the biggest person in your corner. And he was. Now, the problem was like 98% of the time I got accused of something, I actually did it. So like I had to be like, oh, yeah, that's true. But yeah, there was one or two times where you just had situations where you're like, hey, I didn't do this, like but that was the type of guy he was. It was all about like being honest, treating people the right way, and competing. And he taught me so much stuff, man. Like my football career ended and I'll talk to you about why I stopped playing football, but he had a rule as a quarterback: if you ever got intercepted, you hit the guy. Like, you make sure,
You better find him.
like, you go and hit him. Like, and so I get intercepted, and I go drop my pads with a linebacker.
Is that what you got hurt at Linwood?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I wore these pads that were like this
Nothing.
thing.
Yeah, trying to
you
throw
know?
well. Yeah.
And I hit this linebacker a foot deep in the end zone. Like, he'd already scored a touchdown, pick six.
You're just
I
following
got
the
hit when I
dad's rule.
threw, the ball goes up, so I go up and I just go to hit him. And we hit shoulders, and I just drop. Like,
Really?
You know, and separate my AC joint, all that stuff. But it was just funny. Little things like that I remember,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
But
that's interesting. Big Lair, the legend. Shout out, rest in peace.
yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to hear about what life is like for you and your family these days. We've already laughed. Oh, we'll get to it in a second, but our sons share a name, and in a funny way, they've been named. We'll get to that in a second, but tell me a little bit about what life is like for you and your family these days.
Yeah. So I'm married to Lindsay. I've been dating her since high school.
Yeah.
You know,
That's beautiful too, man, because people grow a lot in between that high school, college, early adulthood, and that you guys have been through together. Is
we did, though, like, and I hate to keep going back to my dad on this stuff, but, like, you know, I went to Washington State. She went to Savannah College of Art and Design. We were the complete opposite ends of the country. But, you know, we made it work and figured that stuff out. But I've been with Lindsay since senior year of high school, so it's been, you know, no breaks, no nothing. It's always, you know, her and I together, and we've moved around different cities. We got 4 awesome kids. So I got a 12-year-old daughter. She's on the 7th and 8th grade basketball team at Franklin. She's going to play volleyball as well, so basketball, volleyball.
Oh, cool.
She got her mom's brains. Really smart kid. And then I got a 10-year-old, Bodie, at Owen Marsh.
Yep.
He's kind of baseball and basketball are his thing right now, but like, he loves football, but I won't let him play at the moment. So
That's what Lindsay said. We'll get into that too.
Avit is my 7-year-old. He's a big boy. He's going to be a little stud. Bodie and Avit, I think, have potential if they find the love for the game and want to stay after it.
Yeah.
And then my little one, Ren, who just turned 3,
She's cute.
is a firecracker.
I see her running around on the playground sometimes. She's cute.
Yeah. But and then from a professional, I'm in I work for a big tech company out of Seattle, so I travel quite a bit across North America. But what does my life consist of right now? It's pretty much work and family. That's it.
That's what Lindsay said. She said you're awesome too about, and we'll get to her clips, but about, you know, like you got to travel sometimes, and like, you know, if you got to wear like a late flight and drive in real early in the morning to get back to the family, you'll do it.
Yeah.
And sacrifices like that.
Yeah, I think just stuff like that, man. It's like the little things. If I can get home, you know, even 6 hours earlier, it makes all the difference in the world. Being there for the kids. But, man, that's the one thing I balance with my job. I do have to travel a lot. I got a lot of responsibility, but, like, I don't want to miss my kids growing up. Like, my dad was at my games, and they had to balance it because we had 4 kids.
Yeah.
So they missed games because it was at other games. But, like, that's the one thing that just kills me is not being there enough for all the games. Like, I'm at every one I possibly can be, and I coach and stuff like that, but you always wish you could do more.
Good on you for making the effort. I'm curious about this because my dad did the same thing to me. Would not let me play tackle football essentially until 8th grade. But I'd love to hear your
freshman
thoughts.
Year.
I begged my dad. The funny thing is, begged him. He played quarterback at University of Richmond, so it was in my blood too. And I was, wanted to play so desperately. The irony of it, he finally let me play JFL my 8th grade year. Broke my collarbone within a week. Yeah. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a big layer thing?
This was a big layer.
Let's go.
I think so. He let my oldest brother play, and he got the crap beat out of him. Hated football from JFL, just hated it, and didn't want to play when it got to high school.
Yeah.
And so I think my dad was like, "I'm not making that mistake again."
Yeah.
Like, and so.
Oh, interesting.
But what's different for me was, one, like, since I was a little kid, since my earliest memories, I don't think we missed a Griffin football game.
Oh yeah.
So, like. And I hate what they've done now on some of the, like, they go to a couple different games, especially at Memorial State, and they don't let kids play in the corners like they used to.
Oh,
like,
man, I used to be
playing
tackle back there. Boy, it was getting wild.
Also, like, you earned your stripes there where you're like,
did.
oh, that kid's 5 years older than me.
Yeah. I got some scraps back in there.
So my dad was adamant that we didn't, but we played so much, like, Brewer and Finnegan and the McGee family because they grew up with my brothers.
Shout
and
out to the McGee family, Mike McGee.
Yeah, and we just played so much football in the neighborhood, and we played full on tackle football. Like so,
I've heard about the legend of you.
Yeah,
in the North End.
But we played so much. But now the thing that I had I was fortunate when I walked into SHG. I already knew what a cover 3 was. I knew what a cover 1 man. Like my dad had taught me a lot of that kind of stuff of like walking through and how to identify it. And so, while I didn't play organized football, I was very fortunate that he kind of walked me through like, what do you do on 3rd and long? You know, you screen it, you draw it, you roll away from pressure. Like you kind of knew a lot of those fundamentals of stuff that he kind of taught
for sure
in just talking to us.
Yeah,
but. And if you didn't learn it there, you learned it from like Bill Walsh College Football or something like that on the Sega.
Yeah, Sega boy, man.
But I just
nice reference.
For your tackle football thing, I don't think it's necessary for the kids to. I've had 5 concussions in my life. Like, it's something that I've
had my brain scrambled up too, man. I'm worried about what's going to be on the back end of that.
Yeah, so like throwing them out there too early. I let my son Avett play flag football. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's a big kid, and he's an athletic kid. Because he's big, he was playing like center and D tackle, and he's like, I hate this.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to ruin their want to play football, or they're like, I played it before, it's terrible.
Lindsay said you were real careful about that. Like you wanted to make sure it was with a coach that you trusted, and that they weren't like being loose with the rules and like kind of playing tackle, but it was flag. That pretty accurate?
It's 100% accurate. I've been like Bodie's
video.
Bodie's all over me on like playing flag, which I may think about it. I may actually coach it if I do it.
Ooh, there we go.
But I just right now, like, man, they're having fun. They're playing baseball and basketball, and my Avett plays soccer as well. And like,
are you missing out on that much at a young age?
No,
you can figure that out, right?
No,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I essentially didn't play. I mean, I played flag football in 6th grade, and then I played a week of tackle. In 8th grade, was totally fine playing high school football.
And you were one of the best around, right? So
totally
like, and I look at that from my path, and
I didn't miss
so much stuff has changed though from like when we grew up and the travel sports and all the stuff.
Totally different.
So like it, but I do go back to my childhood and be like, I never played a down of organized football.
Yeah,
and I did okay at SHG. So like
for sure.
Yeah, to me, bodies change,
100%.
Athleticism changes. Kids want desire changes. So like, it's a funny story just because we're chatting. Like, I do this with my kids all the time, and like, I won't call names out, but like, if they're not the best person at their sport at that time, I wrote down the 10 kids that I remember being the best of the best in grade school. Some of those names stayed.
Not many though, right?
Not many.
Yeah.
Right. Some of the ones that you were like, oh, dude, I got to face him tonight. Like, in baseball or something like that. Like,
well, it's because
they all disappeared
old,
by
right?
high school.
Yeah.
And so I always try to tell my kids, like, don't worry about it right now. Just work.
Totally.
Just work. Just do something.
I couldn't agree more. I remember the hardest thrower I remember around my age was a guy named Pat Patterson. He was probably throwing 75 at 12 years old. It was ridiculous, but never even played high school baseball. Yeah. Like, never grew anymore. That was kind of his ceiling, was 12, 13 years old. And like, so I totally agree with that. I want to laugh about this. So we figured out that both of our sons were named after Patrick Swayze's character in Point Break, Bodie.
Yep.
And just an iconic character.
The bride never dies.
Right, man. It's just so beautiful. But your wife has had her take on it as well.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, here we go. Here's Lindsay, Point Break.
Let's settle this debate. So Brad and I bonded over the fact that we thought both of our sons were named Bodie after Point Break. Patrick Swayze Bodie. Do you have other thoughts about this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Brad loves that movie. And it's funny, like we did not know we were having a boy. So we had Sutton first, right? And we did not know if it was a boy or a girl, and so we had narrowed down the list of names, and Brad was all in on Bodie, and I was like, Brad, I don't know. Like, it seems like it just reminds me of, like, total surfer vibe. Like, not that that's a bad thing, but I don't know if that's what we're going for. Like, I don't know if I have some more, like, traditional names. Yeah. And I'm not kidding, Blake. Like, Bodie's birth was so peaceful and laid back, and like he just came out like calm as can be. And I turned to Brad and I was like, "Okay, you win. He's a Bodie." Like,
that's great.
Yeah, he's absolutely. Now, I will tell you that it is not from Point Break because I have no emotional connection to Point Break. Brad does. Yeah, I like Patrick Swayze Dirty Dancing more than Point Break, but yeah, no. Brad will tell you that
story.
Yeah, he'll tell you that's the story.
I think there's tons of guys from Brad and I's age range that have an affinity for that character. Just thinking
it must be. I mean, it must be because I watched it and I was like, okay, like,
I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Whatever. Like,
I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Whatever.
Okay. Incredible clip and all that. Let's just confirm it. 100%, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
100% point.
Like 100%. I told you like before, I was like the two names I picked from a boy perspective was Bodie, and for that reason, and then I picked Cal because Cal Ripken was my favorite athlete growing up, and the Iron Man and stuff like that, and but Bodie was the name I just kept pushing, and then to her point, she's 100% right. Like, dude, everything was just kind of like perfect that day, and to this point, Bodie's still my one that's like he can go, he just kind of floats in and out of stuff, like he just fits that name. Like, how you have these names for kids and people are probably like, what the hell are you naming your kid? And you're like, dude, he is a Bodie. Like, he just fits that name.
I love that. And another little wink from the universe that we're supposed to be here is your affinity for Cal Ripken, but my Bodie, his middle name is Ripken. So that's crazy too. And then a funny thing I wanted to say about your wife is I know you guys have she's a little embarrassed about her time as a cheerleader. She doesn't like to talk about it a lot. So being the jokester I am, I made a couple reels with her picture as a cheerleader, and I've been putting them out there. But she's been a great sport about it, so the secret's out now. So anyway, she was terrific. Let's move on to some of your football stuff, and it's going to be part football, part baseball, because I still kind of see you as both, and I'm sure a lot of people remember you as the quarterback too. So I think you already answered it, but you didn't play flag football, or you didn't play JFL, or did you play even flag or anything like that?
No, we didn't play anything. But man, like I said before, I was talking to my brothers about this. Like I had two older brothers that were so great for me.
Yeah.
Because they beat the shit out of me from like playing sports, like not like physically, but like
getting you tough.
We just played everything, and so when I played with them, and they were the best big brothers you could ever have. Like they weren't like get away from me, mom, get Brad away. Like they took me with them everywhere. Awesome. But like when I went and played, I was playing kids that were 4, 5, 6 years older.
Yeah,
and they would be like, dude, like you got to go tackle them. And so at the time I was small, so like I would just put my head down and spear people. Like literally, and that is how I play. But like there's kids, and if you think of like Phil Weatherall, that was a great pitcher at Lincoln Land SHG, went to Kentucky, Western Kentucky.
Nice reference.
Stuff like that. Like he's probably 6 years older than me, 7. We called him like I forget, Herschel Walker, because he was just trucking people.
Unreal.
Like, and you were facing those kids. So like that's kind of what my football was growing up.
Okay. Yeah. Tough. Getting tough.
Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned the stuff at Lanphier or Memorial Stadium, because I grew up. We actually were family friends with the Juergens, so I grew up going to a lot of those games, and I would be over there, sometimes watching the game, but a lot of times over there mixing it up on the side, like absolutely free for all football over there, tackling,
100%. And there'd be fights every game. There was a fight,
tons of fights, and like you said, the age range could be as like 6 to 13. Like it didn't even,
But you also learned something through that, right? Like you learned, like, all right, if I'm an idiot and I run my mouth, like, and that kid's bigger, he might punch me in the face.
There's consequences. Yep.
You were a little careful of what you did through some of that.
You were on your own over there. It wasn't mommy and daddy over there.
Yeah.
It was hard. That's awesome. Let's go to baseball then. What are some of your earliest memories of baseball? What little league did you play in? You were a Northside guy, right?
Yeah, Fairview. So obviously I heard all the PJ stuff. PJ and I have grown up together.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Like
PJ sings your praises.
Yeah, well, I mean PJ's just you could cover probably 13 podcasts on PJ. Like
agreed.
He was a guy you're always chasing. Like even through high school, who's a guy you try to compare yourself to. PJ was the standard, right, from our age.
Yeah.
But growing up, man, like it's funny because they had Dairy Queen, obviously, arguably one of the greatest teams of all time.
Absolutely.
We had I played for Primo Designs in Fairview. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, we had Dustin Bakari.
Oh, great player.
Adam Locker.
Yes.
J.R. Keyes.
With the red mully.
J.R. Keyes.
J.R. Keyes, man.
Myself, and I'm missing some kids, but, like, there was some teams back then that, like, I remember we would get excited about playing Dairy Queen and others. I think there was, I can't remember Hewlett's team. I'm blanking on it, but, like, those were, like, the top two.
Yeah.
And then you had, like, Hardy's was, like, Nate Guernsey.
Nate Dogg.
I think they had, like, I can't remember if they had
Black
Jerry
Sporting
Roberts.
Goods always had a team
Yeah.
in Fairview, didn't they?
But I played for Primo. Played
Yeah.
that growing up until I think it was like 5th grade. I was on the inaugural Statesman, the legendary Statesman team.
Yeah.
I was a role guy. I was a corner outfield where you stick somebody.
We were talking about this a little bit before we started, but that was kind of a question I had was why, if you were this good baseball player, why were you not Statesman or, like, travel ball the whole way up? And you talked about it a little bit, but tell me now.
Yeah, so I think a couple things. And this is just being honest. Like, I was, I think, good enough to play on the team.
Yeah.
But you have to recognize where you are. Like, Tug Hewlett, Joe Hewlett, Cuffle, Bo
Studs.
Gum,
Yeah, just studs.
PJ.
So you didn't feel like you were on that level yet.
Yeah, and like I felt like I could like contribute, but probably at a 8 or 9 hole hitter, corner outfielder, stuff like that. So I loved it, dude. It was just such a great group of guys.
Oh yeah.
But they were kind of going different level baseball.
Yeah.
Like, so I played ice hockey for 6 years.
Ooh.
At the Nelson Center,
I like some hockey, too.
basketball. So like to me, it was one of those situations where. Like, it just was like, hey, this probably isn't my thing, what I'm going to go do. So I went out and played in a league in Chatham.
Okay.
And I played with, like, Mark Clayton, Keith Mooney.
Yeah, there's some names.
Some of those guys. So it wasn't the Statesman level, right? I mean, those guys kind of, what they did and went off was legendary.
Mark's a forgotten Clayton, too. That dude could ball.
Oh, great athlete.
Absolutely.
Also got hobbled by a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But man, that guy could play. But you go out to like the Clayton family. Like, I used to hang out there. Skip Clayton, Billy Clayton,
Them Clayton
Jimmy
boys.
Clayton.
That's
Like,
a baseball
they
son of a
they
gun
were-
family. Yeah.
They were some great athletes.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you some funny Statesman story though. So 2 things I remember on the Statesman.
Let's go.
Let's go 3.
Let's go 3.
Make it quick.
Yeah.
1. This is, first off, Greg Finnegan's one of the greatest coaches I've ever played for.
100%.
Just a phenomenal person. That whole family. Not just Greg, but his wife Mary. Growing up, man,
Love
like
that family.
I had to get a lot of rides because my parents were just split multiple ways. My sisters, my brothers all played. So like, the Finnegans took me around so much.
Oh, awesome.
And PJ will laugh about this, but Mary always drives. Mary drives for all the road trips.
Really?
Like everywhere we went, Mary drove. But Greg just sat there and talked baseball.
Greg's the passenger
talked
princess?
Positions. He talked like. He talked like situational stuff. So like, dude, just by being in his orbit, you learn something.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, not just Greg, like PJ's grandpa Jack.
Yeah.
You watch, like, you hang out with those guys and you just see why they're competitive.
The
It was
Finnegans
like,
are about winning.
let's go hit golf balls at Geedle. And it was, Geedle Park, and it was, I'm going to outdrive you. Like, it just, their whole family was always like the greatest family in the world, but they were also a competitive family, that wanted to win.
PJ says he can't even golf with his dad. It's not like a fun thing. It's more like we're trying to beat each other the whole time. Like, it's cutthroat.
But like, where I went to this though was when we first started, we were hitting, and I don't know if it was the hitting center. It's the old taxi place over off like 11th Street.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
That's where we started hitting.
Yeah. I think that
we were
was the
trying to
original
figure out
hitting
the
center.
names, right? Like, there was a discussion: are we going to be the Capitals? Are we this? Are we that? Like, and they all picked the Statesman. But I think like what coaches can have an impact on your life, or just people that are important. So obviously, Greg Finnegan, Tim Hewlett, is the coaches, phenomenal. I remember coming out of the batting cage, and like as I said before, I'm not the guy. Like, I'm not like in the top tier of the guys on that team. And I remember Cookie Hewlett, which was Tim's dad, pulling me aside and talking like, "Hey, you got the ability to hit for power, and you're doing this, and that, but like." I can tell you right now where I was when he said that statement. And it's like little things like that that you can say to kids.
Yeah.
that, like, you know, he was obviously
Stuck with you.
a great athlete,
Yeah.
raised a professional ball player.
Something like that says something to you. It means something. There's weight to it.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that you just remembered the rest of your life,
Yeah.
you know? And so the second piece was the Statesman story. I think it was a funny one. Early fifth, I think we started around 5th grade. We went up to Battle Creek, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And this team flew in from New Jersey. And PJ kind of talked about this with, like, Dairy Queen. Like, I think for the Statesman, we thought we were cool because we got, like, a new red and blue T-shirt or something like
Right.
that. Like, you know, we definitely still had, like, our own shoes and our own bags and, like, you know, mismatched stuff.
Some of those travel teams out there were.
They had a private jet that flew this team in from New Jersey, and they were supposed to be the team. They all had their banner, their bags, like, and we just beat the hell out of them.
Really?
Right. Sent them back home on their plane. We won the tournament. Like, that's like one of those things I remember from.
Yeah.
And like I said, I kind of broke off. Like, those guys were kind of going destined to do bigger things from that aspect. But the funny story I learned too. This is a great Greg Finnegan story. High school. In high school, I didn't play much baseball, right? So, like, I get one call. This you know, Greg's like, "Hey, come over and pitch with us in Indianapolis." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not playing summer baseball." Like, everything was kind of geared towards football at that point.
Right.
And so I go over with the Statesman. They just need extra arms, you know. And so they bring me in. I think it was bases loaded. I think it was Chet Lemon's Juice out of Orlando. And this is a team that has a third baseman from New Jersey and a second baseman from Kentucky. And,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, dude, I'm a sophomore. I throw hard. Like, here it is, boys. Like, come and get it. Like, there's scouts there. My first pitch I throw, I just unleash a fastball. Grand slam. So I'm like, oh, boy. I threw – I don't know if I'm exaggerating this. Maybe it was 6 pitches. I gave up 3 home runs. And Greg comes out. I'll never forget it. And it's like, you know, it's just these moments, right? You remember in your life. And
I'm curious what he said.
he just said, look, it's different now. Like, this is a different level.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to pitch.
Yeah, you can't just throw it right in the middle. Yeah.
Like, because, you know, I was just like, when I went out and pitched baseball.
Gas everyone around here, I'm
like,
sure.
yeah, whatever, dude. Here's the fastball.
Yeah, touch it. Yeah.
I threw like 3 or 4 pitches and I gave up 3 home runs. Like, that wasn't worth what they had to pay to bring me over to Indianapolis that weekend. I came back and pitched on the weekend and pitched pretty well. But that was that first moment of like, okay, things are changing. You have to have a level of preparation.
Sure.
You have to learn how to pitch, not throw.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I just remember Greg coming out to the mound, and I'm just sitting there like, you know, dude, I suck.
Something that jogged my memory there. Fun fact about this guy: second in the home run derby, the SJR Classic, your senior year, to Dusty Bensko.
Oh.
I read it in an article.
Well, that one was already done by the time it started because Bensko was just going to hit bombs.
I know, but like I was looking at your senior year stats, and I was like, oh, this guy you had 5 jacks.
Oh yeah,
And I think that was like good for second or third in the conference, and like you had some pop.
I did. You know, it's interesting how, like, my hitting. I think so. I didn't play junior year.
Right.
Yeah, I screwed up my grades. My dad was like, "Hey, get your stuff together."
Big Larry wasn't having it.
And baseball wasn't the focus. Like,
Sure.
it was, everything was all systems football.
Right.
You know, so when I came back to play senior year, wasn't really playing summer ball, wasn't playing junior year. You know, I think the question was like, they knew I could pitch just because I could throw it.
Yeah, big arm.
Could I hit?
Yes, the answer was yes.
And it was, but like my strategy was always very simple. Like, I looked for first pitch fastball,
Yeah.
which a lot of times people are going to throw.
In high school, for sure.
It's the best pitch you're going to get.
Yeah.
So like, let it loose. And yes, I definitely jumped on some pitches and drove some home runs. Like, you know, hit some that you kind of remember and stuff like that. But well, I couldn't hit a curveball to save my life. But that's why that
many
first
of
pitch
us.
fastball strategy
Sure, right.
was so, you know.
Get ahead of it.
I remember my dad would always be like, he comes to me one time, he goes, "Hey, Ace, you haven't hit a single curveball. Stop swinging at it." Like, dude, I'm going to get it one of these days.
I'm curious about, so from what I just heard is football was kind of your path, and you were thinking, all right, I'm going to play college football. Well, was that the goal from a young age, or when did that become a goal?
Yeah. I mean, look, at a young age as a kid, you know, you're playing in the backyard by yourself. Yeah, I think I was going to, like, play 3 sports at LSU or something like that. Like, you know.
I remember thinking I was going to play baseball and football at Florida State.
100%.
Right?
Football at a young age, because, like I said, like, we went to a lot of SHG basketball games. I didn't go to, like, unless my brothers were playing, we didn't go to SHG baseball games.
Right.
Like, SHG football was I could tell you numbers from kids when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Who the big players were, the quarterbacks, just that was such a thing. And when I got to SHG as a freshman, they didn't dress at the time. Like, it was pretty rare for a freshman to dress up on varsity.
Yeah.
And so, this is kind of a Coach Leonard story. But my freshman year is Derek Leonard's senior year.
Yeah.
And they start the season off number 1 in the state. And they had some injuries, unfortunately. Like, Derek's main wideout was this guy named Mark Reckner, who was like 6'4". He was a stud.
Yeah.
He blows his knee out right before the season starts. So O'Malley, who was number 2 wideout, now becomes number 1.
Yeah.
And O'Malley was like over 1,000 yards receiving. Ryan's such a great athlete.
He is, yeah.
But then they had this linebacking group of like John Bowen, who was awesome.
Remember that name?
Caleb Miller, and then Tark Samara.
Mm-hmm.
Tark Samara blows his knee out second game. But they had probably one of the greatest linebacking groups that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Come through a high school. And Samara blows his knee out. So like they just kind of start going down on injuries, and so they went to like second round of the playoffs. But I go up as a freshman, and it's the last game of the regular season, and it's like, back then you didn't make playoffs 5 and 4. Like, so this was going to be 6 and 3. Sometimes you got left out.
Yeah.
So they were 6 and 2. We're going to play Althoff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like a freshman, dude. I'm just like carrying people's water and stuff. But it was really cool to dress up. And getting ready in that locker room at Memorial Stadium, it's like Lanfear's old wrestling gym.
Yeah.
Right? Leonard gave a speech that would have put like Braveheart or any of them to shame. Matt Mitrione comes in the locker room.
Meaty.
Headbutting John Bowen's gold helmet. I mean, headbutting it. And Leonard gives this speech, dude, that was like, we probably could have killed an army that day.
Really?
And it was just one of those things like that. To me was like, there was a lot of stuff that was pushing me towards the football stuff growing up. But like once you kind of got in that environment and seeing it, and then the playoffs and just how it was treated, like it was a pretty special thing. So like football just at that point was like, dude, this is what
all
I'm
in.
doing.
Yeah, I love this.
But
okay. So we're getting into SHG football here. SHG football has been, up until Rochester got really good. I've always looked at them as almost like a high school collegiate program. How it was, very professionally ran, weight programs, accountability. I know you guys are getting after it in the summer at like 5 a.m. and all kinds of shit like that. I'd love to hear about your kind of experience getting into SHG football and like what that was like for you in terms of that kind of commitment and buy-in.
Well, a lot of your best friends are all doing it. So it was pretty cool, and there was such a brotherhood there that when I went to SHG, I think there were 1 or 2 kids from St. Al's that went. Like it just so like I didn't have like this like big long standing friendship group that went to SHG from like grade school. And so you just met all these kids, and like Pat Sweska we were talking about, right? Like he's coming from I think New Berlin, and all these guys kind of just came together, and we just started working and started playing, and they're teaching the stuff, and it was a massive commitment. But like I wouldn't change that. It was some of the best years that I ever had, and like with some of your best friends and what you went through, and frankly, like so my freshman year with Derek's team, they were preseason number 1, and they had a good run at second round playoffs. The next 2 years we struggled. Yeah, and arguably one of the worst records ever my sophomore year. I think ever.
Like the only time they've had a losing record ever. And I know who the quarterback is, but I don't want to say it because I know he gets a hard time about it.
Well, I don't think you could tie anything to one.
Okay.
Team. And the other thing too that we had like a thing kind of going there where their soccer program at that time was starting to also come into like one of the top 50. I think
stealing some athletes.
Top 50.
Yeah.
So you had that competitive nature where you had certain athletes playing soccer.
And,
And that year too, that they lost a big time running back. Ricky Davis was their stud player. First game of the year, blew his knee out. So some of that kind of stuff, right? But like, what we saw with SHG. So I get in there my junior year and start, and at the time we're still running an I formation option offense. Case in point from the start, like that's not,
Not the offense for you.
What I loved about Coach Leonard was always so he was always cutting edge. He was always looking to change something. He was always pushing boundaries. Like he was just, that was a guy that I grew up with his son Brad.
Yeah.
So I saw Coach Leonard so many times, not just as a coach, but as a father of one of my best friends, right?
Yeah.
And he was always thinking of something different, something new. So that, and that's probably why he's the winningest coach ever in the history of Illinois. You could see the characteristics of what drove that.
Yeah.
But we get down, we basically get eliminated. We get down by 30 to Springfield High, and this was walling those guys.
Yeah.
My junior year. And Coach Leonard's hell with it, go 5 wide, 4 wide. We almost won the game in the fourth quarter. We start throwing the football all over the place.
Yeah.
But this is where it gets into, that wasn't real prevalent back then. Griff Jurgens started doing some of that kind of spread offense a little bit.
Yeah.
With Boyle and some of those guys.
Tim Wallen name drop. That's my boy. Shout out Tim Wallen.
I love Tim. Tim's daughter and my son play soccer together, so we're always chatting.
Cool.
And stuff.
Love Timmy. Yeah.
Another, just phenomenal athlete, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And tough as can be.
Very tough.
But we got into a situation where we were down so much that we're just spread it out and throw.
Yeah.
And so I forget what I did. It was 3 or 4 TDs in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
We still lost to Springfield by 4 or 5 or something like that. But the next week, we were all right, we're going to go 4 or 5 wide. That's what we're doing.
Right.
But selfishly, I would love to, there's a lot of accolades that comes with a quarterback or stats.
Sure.
You got to keep in mind what I had. I had on the outside as a high school quarterback, I had Jack Holland, who was 6'5".
Yeah.
Maybe one of the best possession wideouts I've ever seen in my life. He would catch anything, anywhere, and take a hit.
Yeah.
Just was fearless.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had Matt Brewer on the other side, who's 6'4", and just maybe one of the best athletes I've ever been around. Just pure athletic talent.
The white SHG Megatron.
Yeah. But then in the middle, the slot wideouts, I had Eric Carlicker.
Yeah.
Who Carlicker was 6'2", 205,
Yeah.
and one of the fastest kids you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Straight line speed was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then I had Josh Alote in the slot.
Yeah.
Right? And
playmakers, man.
a crazy stat with Josh, like I said this earlier, Josh mostly played football or defense senior year, but he played a little bit of offense, and more like that fly, he'd go in motion, we'd hand it to him just because he could make plays.
Yeah. I
think my senior year, he caught 10 passes. Wasn't a full-time wideout.
Right.
10 passes. I think he had 6 or 7 touchdowns.
Take it to the house every time.
Dude, he was just that's how explosive he was.
Yeah.
So if you think about that from a high school quarterback, having those type of weapons.
I'm jealous, dude.
I had guys like Kevin Morphew and Justin Miller for possession guys.
And now a few words from our sponsors. We are also brought to you by The Crafted Stag, located at 3455 Freedom Drive, 217-698-6300. Your wardrobe is about to get a lot more interesting. The Crafted Stag Supply is Springfield's newest and most exciting destination for discerning gentlemen seeking quality clothing, accessories, and lifestyle goods. Nestled in the heart of Parkway Point shopping area, we offer a unique and one-of-a-kind shopping experience featuring barber services, bar refreshments, entertainment, and more. Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am to be partnering with Crafted Stag. This is Grant Hammer, of course. Great family friend. Actually, my first ever organized baseball was sponsored by his dad. We were the Hammer Slammers. And I'm very close with his younger brother, Jordan. Jordan did the logo for the post-game spread. Grant is a great guy. What he's doing out there, the Crafted Stag, is unique. It is tailored for, great clothing, a great experience. It's for men. I love what he's doing. Couldn't be happier to be a part of this. Go see the Crafted Stag for all your needs that I just mentioned. Barber services, bar refreshments, the greatest clothes, entertainment. I know Grant is always out there seeking better styles, looking for new things. So stay up with this guy. He's incredible. Go see the Crafted Stag. We appreciate you. We are also brought to you by GT Performance Consulting, where athletes gain new perspective, and the greater than mindset is the motto. This, of course, is the former baseball great Greg Taylor at Springfield High School, Forest Park, University of Louisville, and Yankees draftee. He can be reached at gtperformanceconsulting.com, connect at gtperformanceconsulting.com, or 314-250-4748. He offers a myriad of services, including the starting line, one-on-one, the huddle-up program, and disc profiling. GT Performance Consulting is a sport and mental performance consulting practice dedicated to helping athletes reach their full potential both on and off the field. In today's world of sports, the pressure to perform is at an all-time high and has created a greater need for mental performance support for athletes. GT is here to help bring new perspective to athletes, parents, coaches, and support systems. Specializing in programs that cater to each athlete's specific needs, from stress management to confidence-building techniques, GT Performance Consulting focuses on the well-being of athletes so they can maximize their athletic experiences. Guys, Greg was a former guest. He really went through it in baseball with mental stuff and pressure, and it's become a full circle passion for him. Please use him. If you have young athletes, even for yourself, it's very beneficial. It's a huge part of the game these days. We really appreciate GT Performance Consulting coming on board. Thanks, Greg. We are also brought to you by the Springfield Shamrocks organization, the elite travel ball organization for baseball and softball in the Springfield, Illinois area. For baseball, they have teams ranging from 8U to 16U. For softball, they have 10U to 12U. Walt Patton, a former guest, former pro, friend of mine, is a coach within the organization. They will soon be moving to Overtime Training Academy, where they will be working out of. I do believe this is the best place to send your son or daughter if they truly love baseball or softball and you want to see where it goes for them. We appreciate you, Springfield Shamrocks. We are brought to you by Overtime Training Academy, located at 3604 North Peoria Road. Phone number 217-899-3233, or head on over to their Facebook page. This place is incredible. This is where the home of Washco Strength and Speed is located. They've got all kinds of incredible tech for hitting and pitching. They offer hitting lessons, pitching lessons, catching lessons for baseball and softball. You can rent the turf. They've got a huge facility there, so other sports can come in there and do their thing indoors if they need it. Go check these guys out, the premier place in Springfield to train. We are also brought to you by Washco Strength and Speed, located at 3604 North Peoria Road, 217-899-3233. Of course, I'm talking about Jared Washco, the Springfield area firefighter, the former pitching standout at SHG and SCI. He is credentialed. He is a CPT, CSCS. Those are the highest credentials you can get in the strength and conditioning game. I think he is absolutely fantastic working with young athletes, probably the best in the area, working with baseball players. His results say it all. He's worked with high school guys, college guys, pro guys, and they keep coming back to him. They get bigger, they get faster, they get stronger, more explosive, better at their sport, less injury prone. He handles it all. He does arm care work. He does speed work. Go see Jared if you are a local athlete trying to get the most out of yourself. Invest in yourself. Go see Jared. Yeah.
It's hard at a high school level to stop 4 or 5, big-time wideouts. Mm-hmm. Then you go to the backfield, like you already referenced. Kenny Burns, who's one of the best running backs ever come through SHG.
100%.
JT Wise at fullback, who was on the practice squad at the Bears.
The SHG Mike Allstott.
Yeah, and then the one I always say people forget about during my run with SHG was Nick Kulik.
Absolutely.
Because Kenny got all the attention from Allstate, and Kenny was unbelievable. Kenny got hurt his junior year, which was Nick's senior year. Nick ran for over 1,000 yards in the Central State 8.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like this tall.
Little fire hydrant.
And he was the toughest dude I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So football-wise, dude, it was a really fun time to play with some of that stuff, with the weapons you had around was insane.
Yeah. I'm not going to say who. One of these guys gave me a little funny thing. He said that you were awesome at spreading it around because there might have been some Keyshawn Johnson and some of these receivers, give me the damn ball. Everyone wanted the ball, and that you were really good at spreading it around a little bit and like some diplomacy, if that does that make sense to you?
I mean, that's what they say.
Okay.
This is like a pet peeve of mine for high school football, though. I'll sit in the stands, and you hear parents yell at these kids, "This guy is open."
Right.
That just tells me they don't know what they're talking about. And the reason why I say that is sometimes we would make calls that were a 2-look call. Mm-hmm. I either look at Carlicker or I look at Brewer. And you're going to read this, and this is what you're going to throw depending on what the safety does.
Yeah.
I'm not looking over here on a certain set.
Yeah.
So Jack Holland may fly wide open, but that's not what my read is at the time.
Right.
And so you'll hear these fans yell all the time at these kids, like, "What the hell are you doing?
What are you
He's
doing?
wide
It's so
open."
wide
And I'm like,
open.
"You haven't played.
Yeah, get down here and look at this."
Like,
right.
You don't know what the situation is.
Right.
So stuff like that. The one thing the other thing I had at SHG for football, which, sorry, I'm kind of rambling on you, but
Ramble. That's what this is for.
what was so cool for me, I had Coach Leonard, who
Yeah.
was a phenomenal coach.
Mm-hmm.
I had John Sawinski, who used to be the head coach of Springfield High. He's in the High School Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
He was my quarterback coach. So you think of just those two minds alone. But I also had Derek Leonard on the sidelines who would come back.
Oh, yeah.
And we knew we all ran the same offense, right?
Was he done with IC at that point?
No,
or?
he was a freshman at IC.
He sets all kinds of records out there, didn't he?
But what Derek does now at Rochester, I haven't seen anybody with his mind in a football
Offensively,
field.
just nuts.
Offensively.
Yeah.
And if you look at, he does the same damn thing at Rochester. Like,
Yeah.
he just has them sprint to the line a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then he looks and sees what the defense is doing. And Derek's just so gifted that he is one of those guys that can just see it.
Really, yeah.
And
Makes the adjustment,
if
makes
you
the
give
call.
Derek the ability to throw it 70 times a game, he'll do it. Or if you make him run it 70 times, like you make him play one quarterback or six quarterbacks, I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
He just looks at what they're doing
Yeah,
and he
talented
does
like
it.
that.
So, like, dude, I would have him on the sidelines during a game.
Oh, that's nice.
I could look over and he would yell an audible to me based off what they were doing. So, like, I
that's
had
cool.
Coach Leonard, Derek Leonard, and John Sawinski as my main guys.
Some beautiful football minds there.
Pretty good spot.
Oh, yeah. That's perfect. Let's get to some of our clips here. And there's so many awesome guys. We've got Coach Leonard, Sam Madonia, Josh Elote, Brewer, Jack Holland, Kenny Burns. Something that stuck out there that I thought was interesting is, and we'll get to this Coach Leonard clip, but you were kind of right at the era, right before they truly opened it up offensively, right? And I know Coach Leonard has had some thoughts like, man, what if we had gone full spread, Brad in the gun, throwing it 40 times a game? Like, what could he have done? Have you ever had that thought too?
I do, but I think we were so balanced.
Yeah.
And I
I mean, you can't not give the ball to Kenny Burns, or
Kulik.
Kulik.
Wise.
Yeah.
Like we had a play that JT, I don't know what he was. He was like 250, 245 as a fullback, and he could fly.
Yeah.
He was the anchor man on the track team for SHG.
Legend about that guy, yeah.
We had a play that we would throw a fullback screen out in the flat to him. And the whole thought process was like, you get that kid moving at that speed and that size on some small corner.
Good luck, right? Yeah.
So
Good luck. Choo-choo, train's coming through.
I will say, Coach Leonard and I joked about this because, obviously we're still I'm friends with his son, and where he's like, well, if you were in that run pass offense, RPO offense, and I was like, there was no run for
They wouldn't have believed
an
it.
option.
Let's go, Coach Leonard here. Let's go. Could have been.
Interesting you're saying that, because I was wondering the same thing. If you guys kind of opened up the offense more as
We
time
did.
went on,
Yeah.
and do you feel like Brad would have had more success, at least with you guys that opened it up for him in terms
Well,
of staff?
you know what? We started to, and actually Brad was one of the reasons that I, and again, it's my decision. I'm the head coach, but sometimes you listen to your assistants, and and I had some strong-willed assistants at the time, and they were great coaches. But I just from Brad after the '98 season, when we our one and only losing season, I said we're going to change. And we started changing with Brad in 2000. And 99 we didn't. We did a little bit, and then I totally changed in 2002. Now we had, one of the reasons we didn't change the whole, we changed, but we went to the gun and stuff more. And I had a guy named Kenny Burns that was awfully good running back. And
Oh yeah, I remember Kenny.
and so Kenny, and there, there's a reason that you do certain things, and
Sure.
And that's when we went. Yeah, but Brad was one of the reasons that I said, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. We got to do a system, and that's when we started going with the gun and so the one back offense.
Okay, absolutely.
With Brad, but not sold out like we did Yeah. The next year with a guy named Eric Peterman, kid named Eric Peterman.
You got anything on that, or keep rolling here?
No, I think first off though, that just shows kind of what I'm talking about with Coach Leonard as far as like it was always pushing it.
Yeah,
right.
Totally
like,
in line with what you
like,
said.
It just wasn't a big thing for high school football. At the time.
Not quite yet.
And he always was pushing the boundaries. And to his, the guy that came after me was actually John Sawinski or Sundquist.
Yeah.
Who was a great athlete.
He's a forgotten SHG guy, but
dude, like,
phenomenal athlete. He played some defense before. Yeah, he could crack some dudes.
Oh, he'd hit kids.
Workout warrior, too.
Oh, 100%. Still is.
Yeah, I see him at Fit Club. Shout out, Johnny. What's up, man?
Yeah. But, like, he was a great quarterback for that run-pass offense because, man, he could run it.
Right.
Like, he could throw it. He could run it.
Yeah.
Then you get after him, and you get into the Petermans and Gabe Greens and Brynheisens and the world.
Super
like,
athletic,
those guys
fast guys.
Those guys could manage that offense.
Right. Yep. For sure. All right, next one is going to be offense. Here we go.
A lot of people talk about Selinger's son. Do you have any thoughts there? Does anything stand out?
Oh, yeah, he was a competitor. I mean, his dad, if you'd known Larry, he was.
Oh, yeah.
Larry's hard-nosed, and that's and Brad was too. I mean, he was a Selinger, and the Selingers are tough, hard-nosed people and competitors. And Brad was a hard-nosed, tough guy, and his class really from his senior year, 2000. That was my son Bradley's same name. They're buddies still, Brad.
Yes.
And he was a safety. Actually, he came in as a quarterback with Brad, and they said, "This ain't gonna work." Brad's a better athlete, better player, better arm than my son Bradley.
Yeah.
And so we switched him to safety because he was a tough guy. They
Really?
had a tough team. They had hard-nosed people. I mean, that group was a really good group, and that time from 2000 on is when our program really went another step up. And that's when and I attribute that a lot to guys like Brad. But then when we totally went to the spread offense, when nobody else was really doing it, and the spread gun. So.
Okay, well, great answer.
Brad, if I wish we'd have went more with Brad because he was
interesting.
So he wonders too.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like, I think he's being very nice to me on that because he kind of talks about the program taking off in 2000s. Man, that's not like what he started building, what people built before, the 70s, and what Coach Leonard built from the 80s and 90s. Like, I remember growing up. So when I came in, you start to remember quarterbacks or when I was a younger kid. And I would see all the records of like Bart Geiser, Kelly Ryan, Chris Odrula. You see all these names, Jeff Flashley, I think like PJ Becker. Like, you knew all these guys. And then I get in there with I saw my brother's friends, like Akram Hamede, who's the badass, hell of a football player. And then you get into like Scott Norris. There's quarterbacks, man, that like Scott Norris played 1 year because Akram played before him. Scott Norris was the quarterback with Mike Pilger, Chad Carter, and Mike McGee.
Mike Pilger, yeah.
They could have been argued as one of the best offenses of all time because Pilger and Carter had speed to burn, and McGee was, unreal.
Yes.
Right? And so, like, there were a lot of phenomenal. And then you got after that, like Ryan Wells led the 95 team to the state championship game against Providence Catholic, Derek Leonard. Like, dude, there were some horses, man, that came before that.
Absolutely, man. I love it. I love you giving some props to the earlier, because that kind of period doesn't get the same kind of shine as like when you win 6 championships in a row, essentially, or like.
But what's different though, and this is where I think, and maybe it's because I saw them when I was younger, so they just seemed so unbelievable, badass, amazing. Yep. But there was also smaller classes back then.
Okay.
There was only 6 classes. At the time. Like, now there's 8.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you dilute that out a little bit, right? But, like, man, Coach Leonard, and I'm not like, dude, those teams through the 2000s, all those state titles, like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, phenomenal athletes, fun to watch, fun offenses, tough-nosed defense. But man, you got to look back too, though. Some of those '90s teams with like Mitrione, McGee, Bill Bruni,
Is that
the
when they
Lambert
got
brothers.
second in the
Like,
state?
dude, there
was that
just
95 or 94?
No, Stapleton's
No.
earlier.
The state when they got second in the state.
95. It was 95. They had Brad Swoboda.
Yeah,
he was
Brad
a junior.
Swoboda, yeah.
You know, phenomenal athlete.
Yes.
But like, I'm trying to think back. Like Swoboda was a stud for them. You obviously had the Wells brothers, running back and quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But they were built on, like, you want to talk about badass defense?
Yeah.
It was Mitrione, Todd Schneller, probably one of the best linebackers that ever played through.
Great
you
name,
know,
yeah.
Great baseball player too.
Yeah.
But Bill Bruni set the state record for interceptions back then. Like, they were loaded with defense, dude.
Yeah.
And they were like physical, and that whole group was like a tight knit. Because I mean, my brothers grew up with those guys,
Yeah.
and like they enjoyed kicking your ass. Like, if you ever watch, like, there was clips they put out there. I think Schneller put it out on 95. If they made an interception, you should see the other 10 guys. They went headhunting
Really.
for picking people off. Like, you know, I mean, that's just like the, you know.
Yeah.
But so again, I'm not taking like that. What they did with like Peterman and Brenheisen and Dondeville and those guys, Gabe Green.
Yeah.
You know what they've done since then with it's been unreal.
But let's not forget about where it was laid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you seen? I think Todd Schneller put out.
Oh yeah.
He's put out all kinds of
Yeah,
CSA
dude, it's
football.
awesome.
You've been seeing
Like,
that?
I mean, like,
It's on YouTube.
I was
Check it
seventh
out.
grade, and it still gives me like goosebumps watching it because these are kids I just grew up watching.
He's put out a ton of video recently, but all like the CSA history, SHG stuff. Him and I have gone back and forth because I had some old Landfair video that I gave him.
Todd
too.
was, I think he was like 150 or 160 pound middle linebacker.
Really?
Player of the year.
What?
Oh, he's nuts. Like, dude, you want to talk about like taking people's heads off tackles and, you know, but you look at just, and there were so many players, but just that team alone, man. You had Mitrione up front, you had Schneller in the middle, and Bill Bruni in the back. It was like insane.
Let's move on to some golden-voiced San Madonia. You ready? Let's go North End Tough.
Multiple people have talked about his toughness. Do you have any? He was kind of that North End tough. Do you have any thoughts or any memories on that?
Well, you know you hit it spot on. I know every place in town has tough kids. I'm not ever going to say that, but there is sort of a different mentality with some, and especially the North End kids who were out there, you know, in the Catholic ghetto, if you will, out off Sangamon Avenue and 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd Street. Those kids are tight. Even the Lanphier kids were tough kids. You know, they got along with them, and they were all neighbors. And those kids, those guys played. They spent a lot of time over at Fairview Park or even down at Fairview School, whatever the case might be. No, it's the competitiveness. They didn't do a lot of things for funsies. It was all whether they were in grade school, high school, whatever the case might be. In the business world, they're still very competitive. And, you know, a real quick story about his dad. I'll never forget. Larry was coaching, I believe he was coaching the varsity basketball. And he and somebody else were taking a night class with Duncan Reed and one of his assistants in Lincoln. And these guys, the guys, Team Selinger, you know, Larry would stop at the Tropics, and they'd pick Duncan, all four of them, and then drive up. So they're driving up. So Duncan Reed, who was a very competitive coach, he said, well, what's your guys' record right now? And he said, Coach, we're not very good. He said, we're about, you know, 5-12 or whatever, you know, under 500. And he says, how's your freshman sophomore? How's your JV? He said, oh, they're really good. He said, they're like 17-2. And Duncan Reed says, bring them up. And said, what? He said, bring them up. And he says, never let your sophomore coach have a better record than you. Bring them up. And Larry says, Coach, that now goes down as something I will never forget. And I think the assistant was Bill Flashley. And I think that Bill, the next practice, here they come. You know that Larry said, got to have them, move them up, or whatever the case might be.
That is great.
So it was really, and obviously if Dad was like that, you knew Brad was going to be like that. The competitive nature is just something that can't be explained.
He brought it home there at the end. I wasn't sure where he was going for a little bit. He brought it right back home. Let's move on to that arm. Here we go.
Let me ask you a little bit about his arm strength. I remember it being pretty elite And, I backed up Mike Jasinski for a couple of years, who I thought had a pretty strong arm. But then I remember seeing Brad and watching Brad warm up and being like, that's a different level of arm. And then further confirmed as went on through his baseball career and was like a, low 90s to mid-90s velocity guy. Can you speak to the arm strength he had, both throwing a football and a baseball?
I never did see him in baseball, and I apologize for that. But in football, I would watch him warm up, and there was not much of a difference in velocity and what the football was doing, whether he was throwing with the wind or against the wind. Now, there are a lot of situations. I remember that day at Joliet, the wind was a factor. And he was warming up against the wind, and he was spot on. It was laser time. I mean, he was just letting it rip. And he could do it, quickly. If he had to roll out a little bit, he could do that. But no, he had incredible arm strength, and it obviously showed in other sports.
Got that. Let's go last one here. What could have been?
One last question. This is interesting. I talked with Coach Leonard the other day, and he talked about he kind of looks back on the Brad era at quarterback as right before he opened it up, right before they went to the spread and starting putting up huge passing numbers, and he kind of wonders what Brad could have done had he been, a couple of years later. Do you have any thoughts on that?
That's funny because the other day I was watching the 1995 team. I was watching it on YouTube, and it was a championship game. They were playing Providence New Lenox up at ISU, and Providence won.
I was there.
SHE had a late fumble that, and then anyway, they gave Providence all they wanted and so on, and they came back and beat Providence for a state championship in '98. But I'm watching the game, and I realized, and I'd have to ask Coach Leonard because I don't remember what year they went to the spread because obviously, you had quarterback ducked under center, you had tight ends, maybe a wing, but two guys in the backfield and so on, and the I formation or whatever the case might be. And you're exactly right. I mean, obviously, if that was 95, we know that kind of went on in 2000 that they were still doing that. So I would be hard pressed to know exactly.
Right.
Probably Peterman's era, but I'm not sure.
I think it was.
Yeah, Brad Selinger out of the shotgun, wouldn't that have been something? I mean, honestly, because he could run, again, and his ability to read the defensive and find out who was open and throw either short swing pass, safety valve, or somebody over the middle, or one of the wide receivers flying down the sidelines. No, it would have been a whole different look, that's for sure.
Echoing some of the things that I've said here. That concludes our Sam Madonia stuff, and thank you, Sam Madonia, for chiming in, dude. Like I said, I've been a fan of yours for a super long time. Really cool hearing your voice, and just incredible that you sound like you did 25 years ago. The same. Sharp. Like, I know from my time as a firefighter, there's guys that are 10 years younger than him in nursing homes that their brains are, oatmeal at this time. But Sam Madonia's out there doing it.
Just thinking how many people in this community has heard him call a game or talk on the radio, and he's got that distinct. You don't even have to hear his name. All you have to do is hear his voice, and you know across Springfield who that is.
Golden Silk, man. I love his voice. Shout out to Sam Madonia. Love that guy. Let's move on to some Josh Alote here. We'll start off with that arm. We'll stay on that subject.
I remember watching Selinger warm up in football and being like, I've never seen anyone throw a football like that. And it still stands out in my mind how loud his arm was. Do you have any thoughts on his arm strength or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was effortless. I guess a lot of my answer will probably be stories. So I lived on the west side of Springfield, and we lived in the duplex initially on Cooper Avenue. And there were it was a two-story duplex, and the roof was like really, really tall. Mm-hmm. We were messing around one time in my house, and we were all trying to throw the ball over the duplex. And then Brad showed up, and he, from the backyard out to the front yard of the street, I don't even think he took a step. I think he just kind of turned and just threw the ball, and the ball cleared the roof, went out basically to the middle of the street, and whoever was on the other side ended up catching it. And that was kind of like my firsthand look at Brad's arm, make sure he's a legit quarterback, and I was like, all right, he's legit. I always used to say too, he could throw hard, but it was always easy to catch. So I didn't really know how to explain it, but
yeah, for sure,
he could throw as hard as he needed to, but when the ball got to you, it was never like, it was going to like hurt your hands or anything like that. It was just like always a catchable, easy ball.
That's interesting to me because obviously you had a ton of velocity on the ball, but that it was catchable and you had touch as well. Do you have any thoughts on this or anything to comment there? Hey guys, apologies, but we had a small audio issue in the middle of our recording where we lost a couple minutes. We're going to pick it right back up with some Josh Alote clips here. Apologies. Hope you're enjoying. And now a few words from our sponsors. We are also brought to you by Nate Guernsey with the Real Estate Group. Get a hold of him for all your real estate needs. You can reach him at 217-691-6853. We've mentioned his name multiple times on the podcast. He was a member of the famous Springfield Statesmen. This guy was an absolute sharpshooter with swag for Southeast back in the day. I can remember watching him play the city and really liking his flavor and the way he did things. So go see Nate Guernsey with the Real Estate Group. Again, 217-691-6853. Love this guy. We appreciate you, Nate. We are proud to be brought to you by Hudson Chiropractic and the Hudson family. Located in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. You can find them at 3232 Independence Street, HudsonChiroCape.com, 573-335-7349. They've got over 700 five-star reviews, all five-star reviews on Google. That speaks for itself. This is, of course, my former teammate, friend, brother, Murray State great, Seth Hudson, an all-time great second baseman in Racer history. He finished second all-time in hits when his career ended. Hudson Chiropractic, your bridge to a better health. They can do everything you can think of chiropractic-wise, adjustments, soft tissue, DOT exams. Seth is really doing his thing down there, and Cape has a beautiful family, raising a couple sluggers. We really appreciate your support. Thank you, Hudson Chiropractic and family.
You have any thoughts on that, or did you see anything along those lines?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what game it was, but he got like a really, really bad concussion one game, and nobody knew it. He was played pretty much the rest of the game up until I'd probably say late in the third quarter. I think we ended up winning the game. But I remember going over to him after the game, right as the game was ending, I was like, "You good, man?" And he just had that glass over look, a bad serious concussion. But he pretty much played the whole game, pretty much with the concussion, and ended up playing, went really well. Nobody really realized that he even got a concussion. And I remember he broke his thumb or something like that, and it was like he was supposed to basically have surgery on it, but he basically was just toughing through it the whole time. And still able to throw the ball on his throwing hand, so it was still, didn't really seem like it affected him all that much. But he was always a tough kid, former hockey player.
Yeah.
He was just that type of kid. The North End toughness.
What we got?
So, I do remember the concussion. I had a couple of concussion games, but the thumb.
Me too.
So going into senior year, we're undefeated. So the big thing with SHG football was they were always kind of a perennial favorite in the Central State 8 when it first formed.
Sure.
Every year they got knocked off by a game. Yeah. There was just a game, an upset or whatever. And so they hadn't been undefeated in the regular season since, I think, 1990.
Yeah.
And we come in 2000, we go undefeated. Mm-hmm. And so it was a really big deal. It was a goal at the start. It was go undefeated, conference championship, and then state championship. So we're undefeated. We're coming into the playoffs. We're riding high. And the first game of the playoffs, I break my thumb, my throwing thumb. I throw the ball, and I hit Kenny Burns' helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Break my thumb. And so you can kind of see I had pins.
Oh, I see that.
So we go in. It impacted me the rest of the game. Couldn't really throw that well. My hand was hurt. And I knew. I looked up at my dad kind of just dude, my thumb.
It's not right.
And so you got to keep in mind, from a quarterback, that's where it snaps.
Yeah.
Every snap was hitting me on a broken thumb.
Yeah.
And, dude, it killed. It was just – so we go, doctor. Doctor basically was like, hey, this is broken. We got to do surgery. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
We're in playoffs.
Yeah.
And so Coach Leonard was good leading up kind of through the playoffs, the practice. I didn't do a lot of snaps, or we had someone else kind of stand in there and hold it. But, dude, you got to go ready for game time. Now we got Maple Park, Canelan coming down. they're a really good football team, and you got to play through it. And so,
Right.
like, I will tell you, the pain from that aspect was every snap hitting your hand on a broken hand is miserable, and it's my throwing hand.
Right.
So then we go to Joliet Catholic, right? And so I'm coming in with a broken hand. We don't tell, like, I think Robert Burns did an article asking me about my thumb, like, and it said something like the article was like thumbs up, like everything's good. Because of course I'm not going to tell, like, you know, my hand's broken.
Right.
But you always wonder about that, man, because like we came into Joliet Catholics. I think they were like 4th in the country, if I remember correctly, high school football.
Yeah.
They had 14 Division I players between sophomore and senior year.
Storied program, yeah.
Like, that team was insane.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm probably one of the only ones, and maybe my teammates would say the same. We got shocked. Like, we came in. They were, like, pushing our bus when we came pulling into Joliet Catholic, like the fans. You know, and you knew who Joliet Catholic was.
Absolutely.
Like, you're like, dude, this is, like, one of the programs.
It's a nationally known program.
Yeah, you'd think of, like, back then especially, it was, like, Providence. It was Joliet Catholic, Mount Carmel.
That's where Mike Allstad came from.
Yeah. And so we go into Joliet Catholic, and we spotted them 24 points. Out of the gate, we fumbled. We just did stupid stuff. Like, so we get down 24-0 to the 4th-ranked team in the country. We come back 24-22. Like, the place was going berserk.
Yeah.
And we ended up losing 52-35. But you take the 24 spot away, like, we started going toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah.
We just had to, like, get past that moment of, like, all right, we can play with these guys.
Right.
And so, like, you kind of always think back on, like, they were absolutely bigger, better, faster, stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, we could have beat that team.
Yeah.
I truly believe
there.
it. Like, if we didn't kind of come out the way we did in spot 24, like, we were absolutely going to play with that team.
Uh-huh.
So,
Man. That toughness, man. That toughness. I love it. Josh also mentioned that it was a cool thing he talked about where he was, like, kind of new to town. And he said that you were instrumental in making him feel welcome here, and that, like, he was a part of it. And, you know, not to be back then there weren't as many minority African Americans going to SHG, so he was a little bit like, how is this going to work out? But he said you were awesome at making him feel, you know, included, a part of it, never an outsider. So kudos to you for that, man.
One thing that's interesting, a lot of people don't know this, a lot of people do, but my dad was very instrumental in a young man's life in the 70s named David Schluter.
Okay.
Who's one of the best athletes that ever came through Griffin.
Okay.
His senior year, he hated football, loved basketball.
Really?
And, you know, he's African American, and he's in my wedding. Like, I call him like one of my oldest brothers.
Mm-hmm.
He went through Griffin when it was a different time in the 70s. Like, his senior year, every time he touched the football, he averaged 27 yards.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like, you know, and went and played football for Illinois.
Yeah.
You know, so that had a big impact on David's life.
Yeah.
And so, like, dude, I just, you know, with sports, man, that's the beautiful thing about sports is, like, you grow up playing with people from all walks of life. And, like, you grow up on the north end, you get a mixture of all sorts of people, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Josh, to me, anyone that's ever gotten to know Josh is one of the best humans you're ever going to meet in your life. Like, he would give his shirt off the back. He's a state trooper. You know, he did that because he wanted to impact change. Like, he's just, there's so much you can say about Josh. Right now, he went out to coach Lanphier this year. Mm-hmm. And we had some friends like, hey, why don't you go coach at Rochester or this or that with Derek? Because, like, you know, Derek's been, like, a really close guy to all of us.
Yeah.
And Josh wanted to make change. And he's like, Lanphier needed help with the coaches.
Lanphier
like,
needs some help,
but that's a guy that's kind of walking the walk a little bit there.
Yeah.
Like, to kind of give you some perspective on Josh. But when he first came, dude, we were like, you're coming.
Yeah.
So his older cousin was a big-time football player at SHG, Patrick Awanyu on the 95 team.
Okay, cool.
So we kind of heard about Josh.
There's a connection
so,
there.
We chased him down. And we pretty much, but he always tells a funny story. Like, you know, you had these kids from SHG with, like, you know, hip necklaces and tie-dye, and he's, like, coming from a spot that wasn't that. He's like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, where am I at? But, you know, he came, and dude, he was just, to this day, he's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
We joke all the time. We actually have taken spring breaks together with the families and the kids and stuff like that. So, like, pretty special to see kind of what he's done. And,
Absolutely.
You know.
I love it, man. It's beautiful. Shout out to Josh Elote there. Let's next up is gonna be Matt Brewer. Let's go. Let's start with arm talent here.
I remember watching it and seeing it. Raved about Brad's arm strength. You obviously know about big-time arm strength in football and in baseball. Do you have any thoughts on what you remember about his arm strength, anything there in football or baseball?
The thing that always jumped out at me with Brad and his arm was the ball, whether it was baseball or basketball, just one of those guys, like, it just explodes out of his hand.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like the arm speed, you know, compared to how fast the ball would leave his arm, it almost like didn't make sense. You know, with pitching, I just remember, I mean, he stood a little taller, if I remember correctly, and that was always a tougher angle. I always thought guys who were taller who stand taller. And then in football, I mean, he could just like flick it, and it would be, you know, 35, 40 yards down the field. I distinctly remember a play his senior year when we were playing Landfair, and he was as he was getting hit, and he threw one up to me way down the field and almost overthrew me. And despite the fact that he really didn't have time to get set, and I mean, it was like a 45, 50-yard completion, and it was just a bomb, and it was a perfect spiral. I mean, he always had that arm talent.
Yeah.
Love it. And then let's go tough. Another one on tough.
One thing that will always come to my mind when I think of Brad is just, especially when we were like little kids, is he was just so tough.
Yeah, there we go.
You know, he lived, if I remember correctly, maybe on Sangamon Avenue, or it was right by St. Al's. And, you know, there would be times where we'd play football in the field behind St. Al's, or, you know, maybe even over there in Indian Hills.
Yeah.
I remember Brad more by St. Al's, but he would be the kid that if he got the ball, everybody was like scared because nobody wanted to tackle him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're out there, there's no pads, and he was so aggressive and so tough that, you know, shirt would be ripped, you know, all bloody, and he just didn't care. He'd just keep going. But just when I think of Brad, I think of just toughness, and he you know, he brought that into, you know, when we were at SHG in high school. Brad was the leader. Everybody knew that. Everybody followed Brad, and, you know, he was a great person to lead that team that we had, and that would have been the 2000 season. And just a competitor, wanted to win. You know, I kind of had that heartbreaking moment with him when we ultimately lost in the third round of the playoffs that year in football to JCA.
Yeah.
You know, he was just kind of standing over there by himself, and the game was winding down, and it was clear we were going to get beat. And, you know, just two kids who had come from that same neighborhood who, you know, because we were really the only ones from that neighborhood that were kind of close, that had kind of grown up that way. And, you know, it was ending at that time, and he was going to be moving on. And, you know, he was heartbroken that his football career in high school was done, and I was heartbroken that, you know, I was losing a buddy that I had played with since I was a little kid, since we were little kids together up in North End.
You remember that moment at all?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday, man.
Yeah.
You know, so a couple things, I guess. Talking about arm strength's kind of funny because Matt Brewer's arm was outstanding.
Absolutely.
Dude. And, like, especially I remember I can't remember where he played at SIU, if it was right field or left field, but, like, that dude had a cannon.
Absolutely.
But he also, Matt to me was one of those guys that you watch, one of the most gifted physical athletes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't care what you picked up. And PJ was like that. PJ wasn't he grew into a bigger, stronger kid, but he wasn't the physical, like the traits that you saw with Matt.
I mean, he still looks like he could play football right now.
Oh, 100%. Like he just, that guy was a great athlete.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I saw a couple of those guys in my life, like, you know, Eric Gum.
Absolutely. Great name.
Just, you know.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember that moment with Matt, because that was, you know, SHG football at the time. Like, I grew up since I was 3 wanting to do it. And that was where it was ending.
Yeah, it's
like,
over.
That's when the story ended.
Yeah.
And I still remember Matt came down. I was standing there. I still, like, it was yesterday. I just remember it. But he was fun, man. He was a fun one to watch and, like, just so talented.
Oh, yeah.
Like a great dude.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, I hear the stuff, like, I think I'm getting exaggerated on me being tough in the football field. Like, but I got to say, that came from my brothers, and it came from my brother's friends. Because, like, That's all we did. So, like, I probably got to a stage where, like, all them stopped playing with me.
Yeah.
And then I got to, like, play with my age or younger. So, like, then it was like, oh, yeah, I can hit these kids.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to crush these kids.
That was just because I went through years of getting my butt whooped.
Braves beat in by 5-6 years older than you. Let's move on to Jack Holland here. He was really fun to talk to. I enjoyed him. Let's start off with sense of humor.
No, I just, when I think back on my, playing high school football with Brad, it's not one story. It's the whole relationship over the 4 years playing. Mm-hmm. He was just he was a funny guy. I mean, he had a self-effacing sense of humor. Not afraid to laugh at himself and be the brunt of the joke, and he's certainly not afraid to dish it. So we've come into the huddles quite a bit, and we'd be making fun of the quarterback just the same as he would be making fun of the right tackle. That's great. He was not this untouchable person that sometimes quarterbacks tend to be. You're right. Or want to be. He was he led from within, which was an admirable trait for high school football.
That was cool because, like I said, sometimes quarterbacks can feel like they're above the rest of the team, and you don't hit me, don't be ripping on me. But you sound like you were all up in the mix, one of the guys, 100%.
Yeah, like you still get some of those though, right? Like you weren't allowed to hit me in practice.
Yeah.
A couple of my buddies never ever.
Cared about that
rule. No, dude, but they would do, like Sweska was a great one. Steve Kapronica, they would act like they tripped and then take me out, stuff like that. But man, that's like just anything though. I didn't have to do some of the stuff they did just because I didn't have to do a lot of the lifting at SHG from like we were watching film and stuff. Right. But like, I think any great team, you got to have a team, right? Like it's not individuals. And that's where you start to see like the bond that team created. Mm-hmm. And it could have been underclassmen. Zach Kettlecamp came up as a sophomore, Kenny and JT. But all these guys, John Cece was a hell of a safety. You start to go through some of these guys, it was a close-knit group that was like, let's do it, but we're going to do it together.
Yeah, I love that. Kenny shared a funny story with me that's about Zach. He said that initially when Zach got called up, you were kind of giving it to him some, how seniors do to sometimes, getting into some younger guys. And he said him and Kenny had a conversation one time where Zach was feeling a little despondent or something I don't know if Brad loves me or hates me. And he said that somehow that got back to you, Kenny did, and that within a week or a day you had your arm around Zach, hey, I love you, big guy. I'm just breaking you in, this is football. And then it was good from there.
I don't remember that. Zach, dude, I took under my wing. He was just a great dude.
Great dude, great athlete. I grew up with him. Phenomenal athlete.
And actually, leg on that. I always heard he was a great soccer player.
Phenomenal. That leg was unreal.
That guy probably should have been a professional kicker.
100%.
Right?
100%.
But he started as a sophomore. I think the only reason I probably gave him crap is I think he dated my sister at one point. So he had to get a little bit of,
Didn't know that.
Sophomore, he started for us at linebacker, and he had 7 picks in the first 8 games.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 of them got returned.
Yeah. So
dude, he was an instrumental piece at a young age. He stepped in at a big spot for us.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Zach Kettlecamp. Yeah. Let's go next one. Jack Holland, favorite play.
Brad could hit it. He could hit the. I'm trying to remember what it was called, the over-the-shoulder fade pretty good. But his money throw was a quick slant. I mean, that thing was automatic, 7 yards, cut into the middle. The ball was right there every time you tackled, but it was going to pick up a minimum of 9 yards on the play. So it was a tried and true play in our playbook.
And then what do you think this last clip's going to be?
Jack?
Yeah.
I'm guessing where he was so slow he couldn't get to the spot that I threw and he separated his shoulder. But that's just a guess because I hear it from him.
That's not. But we're going to continue on our team with, here we go, another clip about Brad's toughness. Here we go.
Everyone has talked about his toughness, that kind of north end tough. Do you have any thoughts there about anything? Yeah, Brad, the quarterback position, obviously you have to be a leader. And what Brad excelled at, not only in his toughness, was his diplomacy among the offense. Ooh. So he had a challenging group of running backs and receivers, all of whom were pretty talented in their own regards.
Yeah.
Who wanted the ball.
Sure.
And so, we would come into the huddle and all of us would have ideas of what play should be run next. And we'd be in his ear on the sidelines telling him what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And, he saw the game well.
Oh, cool.
But what he did better, I think, was manage his talent in a way.
Cool. Yeah.
That was for the benefit of the team and moving the ball down the field.
I already talked about that a little earlier, but I thought that was really interesting because I wanted to go to toughness, and he went there.
Well, I think he's telling you something.
Yeah, I love it, man.
No, I got to tell you a funny Jack Holland story because we were joking.
Let's go.
We didn't run a tight end offense my senior year. Mm-hmm. So if we ran wideouts, it was 3 or 4 wide. Right? And so Jack was the closest one because he was probably the tallest that we would kind of tuck in as a tight end.
Yeah.
We're playing in Jacksonville. And one of those games, man, I think I had 300 and some at halftime. So I was on pace to, we were throwing the football. But I don't remember any really big, deep bombs that game. I remember getting the ball in people's hands and letting them make plays. Yeah. But Jack, we run this, we run a bootleg, a counter bootleg. Jack's going to come peeling across the field. And dude, I don't know why. If I had a foot of opening, I could probably hit the throw. Yeah. He was wide open by 26 yards.
Really?
And I overthrew him by 10 yards. But Jack being Jack was like the Rodman of our team. He dove for everything, even when it was 10 yards too far.
Yeah.
So he dives for it and separates his shoulder, and he's out for the next couple games. And so it's always been a running joke. He and I, the other day, we were chatting about this over text. He's like, remember when you separate my shoulder by a bad throw? And so my response was always, well, that's because you were so slow. I was throwing it with expectation of some other wideout. But, dude, I'll tell you what, though, you talk about tough. You got to have a special mentality for a wideout to go across the middle knowing you're going to get hit.
Yeah, wear it.
And hang on to it. And,
he was that guy.
If he was across the middle and he said slant, I would call it a dig.
Sure.
But, man, he did those digs across the middle of the field, and he had no issue.
Yeah.
Catching it and knowing he was going to get clobbered.
Love that. Love that. Shout out to Jack Holland, a real one. Let's get to some Kenny here. Oh, no, there was one fun thing. Oh, yeah, so going back to the Keyshawn Johnson, you guys had all this talent. He said that sometimes he would mess with you because another receiver or some of the guys would be like, Sally, I'm open, man. What do you get me? And he'd be like, you'd come up to him and he'd come up to you and be like, he was open, but I was even more open than him. Messing with you, rubbing it in a little bit. Remember that?
But dude, I mean, I think that's got to be normal, right?
Sure.
You want to be the guy that catches the ball.
Absolutely, hell yeah.
And a lot of times we did have 3-4 guys open. So
sure. All right, let's go. Let's round out our SHG football with some Kenny stuff. Kenny Burns. Let's start off with arm strength. Here we go. And this was cool because obviously Kenny has seen some big time arms. Yeah. So let's backed up Jasinski for a couple years. Finally got my time to play quarterback at Springfield High. But I thought Jasinski had a strong arm until I saw Brad warming up before we played you guys when I was a sophomore, and I was like, holy shit, that guy is chucking that ball, right? Yeah. And he was, maybe 5'11", 6-foot guy, so doesn't look like this big, strong quarterback type that you would think. But right. And I've even gone on in baseball and seen people throw footballs. I still can picture him absolutely chucking that ball. I thought of it as a huge arm. He said he threw it 75 yards in high school, which is nuts. Do you have any thoughts on that arm strength? You obviously seen big-time football.
Right.
What you got?
Yeah, no, so funny story. We were literally, I can remember the story vaguely, but we were at Griffin. We were at a practice in, I think, fall camp, and there was a challenge to him on how far he could throw the ball. He was kind of hyping himself up, and we were thinking, I think, 65 yards then is what we were kind of joking about. Could he do it?
Chucking it in high school.
That's chucking it pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but it ended up being someone had to, I forget who it was, the offensive lineman had to drop their pants and run down the field if Brad didn't do this. and it was an older guy, of course, and Brad, I think he literally said bet, and he literally stepped back and he threw it, I think 70+ yards. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was a funny story, and obviously they paid their bets, but just he was an extremely talented young man, and I think people get lost in he's not this big specimen that you're going to see at a combine, but his ability to move the ball where it needs to go, to be accurate with the ball, and then have what I call a live arm, and a live arm is being able to throw the ball deep, and he has that. So, I think that Coach Leonard's a run the ball first type guy, so I benefit from that. Yeah, but I think if you put Brad in an offense that was more dynamic, I think he would have really had some success and some numbers and so forth.
You remember that at all?
What's that?
Do you remember that?
I don't. I mean, we had a couple times a couple challenges of how far you could throw it. Like I remember the one sophomore year. I don't remember the sophomore year. I threw one after a game, 72. Because I remember it's one of my brother's friends, Cecil Williams, Big Nick. A lot of people know him in town. Mm-hmm. Said he could outthrow me, and I was a sophomore, and I remember throwing it, and they marched it off, and I think we bet a horseshoe actually on it. So
that's great.
I remember a little bit of it.
Okay, this is a cool one. This one's called Players QB. Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. He was definitely one of the guys. He was, I would say, quarterbacks fall in two realms. They're either a coach's quarterback or a player's quarterback. Which how they're handling the huddle and how they're interacting with you as a teammate. And he was definitely a player's kind of quarterback. He wanted everybody to be engaged. He wanted everybody to have a say, a voice. Yeah. He made sure that we all were on the same page and aligned on and off the field. And I thought that was some special gifts that he had.
Love that. I'm going to go right to this next one. He had some really brilliant things to say. Let's go get it done. Any thoughts on his toughness? Multiple people have talked about it.
Yeah, I think that, I've been coaching now for 20-something years and recruited quarterbacks, talked to quarterbacks, always looking for that first, the toughness element of it, because I truly believe that the identity of the offense is built around the toughness of the quarterback. Okay. And I don't think we would have any success at all. When I was there, we had tons of success. We wouldn't have had that success without Brad's toughness. I mean, he was a tough, hard-nosed, blue-collar type lunchman work ethic. I mean, he was great in that realm. And I think it comes from his family. His dad installed it. And I met his dad several times. And, he used to get on me about just being tough, and being able to run people over and don't be afraid of contact. And you could definitely see that exploding out of Brad and how he went about his business. And, I never forget, we were playing, I don't know who it was, I think Taylorville. And it was short yardage play, and it was 3rd and 1. And Brad, I think the play that came in was a quarterback run, and Brad changed it to give me the ball. And he says, you got to show them you can get this done, dude. I know you're a sophomore, I know you're young. Yeah. And I went and ran and got the first down. And those are little moments. I got tons of Brad stories, but those are moments where his leadership, his toughness, his ability to get others to play well around him, it really showed. Oh. The big one on the field, I think, is I thought about this a little bit. So I was a young sophomore playing. Yeah. And I had never thought I was going to be the starter. I was battling with Nick Kulik, who's a really good player too. Oh, right, yeah. And we were splitting some time, and I got the chance where I was going to finally be the starter. And Brad, he kind of took me before the game, and he grabbed my face mask. I'll never forget it. And he goes, "You only get one first impression, and you get one chance to really show everybody that you belong here, that you're the starter, and that you're the guy." And I'll never forget that, because I took it personal when he said that. And it really kind of made me understand the level of not just Sacred Heart Griffin, but that offense and what we were trying to build there and my role in it now. And after the game, I think I rushed for a couple hundred yards. And after the game, all he did is came and just gave me knuckles. And he said, "That's what I'm talking about." And those are the moments that as a young player, I think Brad, not just me, but did that with a lot of people.
Cool. You got anything? Keep rolling.
I think I would just say, maybe I actually thought Kenny had a better shot. But I will tell you one funny Kenny Burns Taylorville story.
Let's go.
Taylorville's good football back then.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And I remember Coach Leonard came in. We're playing Taylorville at Taylorville. And he goes, "Kenny, I know I tell you don't bounce everything to the outside." We're playing Taylorville. And he's like, "Bounce everything to the outside against them." Because his speed, man. Once he got to the outside.
Get away from those corn-fed boys.
The only thing I'd say, on the quarterback and the toughness stuff, dude, there was a long line, like, and just getting stuff done. Like, you look at, like, Derek.
Yeah.
Derek has always been like, just do what has to be done to win. And if that's run the football.
Right.
Like, if we had to run it, there was games, man, I remember, like, a couple games, I had, like, 14 yards of passing.
Yeah.
But if we could run it up the gut with Kenny and JT and Nick Kulik,
right,
who cares? Like, from that aspect. And there's games that call for chucking it. So,
I love that.
Saw a lot of that.
For sure. Let's go last one from Kenny here. He was incredible. This one is called Included.
First and foremost, Brad Selinger is like one of the most, he was back then, at least he was one of the funniest human beings on earth.
Everyone says that, yeah.
He can make you laugh, and he can take any situation and make you feel like you belong first and foremost, and then also engage you and make you a part of it. And that's the biggest thing I remember about Brad is just his ability to step into any environment and really own the environment, and then make people feel included in the environment that he's in. And I was a young freshman coming in. He was a couple years older than me, but he kind of took me under his wings a little bit and made sure I felt at home at Sacred Heart Griffin.
That's awesome. Chills, my man. That's cool right there to hear that.
Yeah, that's a great compliment. I mean, look, dude, Kenny was a special talent,
stud. Yeah.
So it was one of those things where, I think he just had to have the confidence that, like, he did belong with us.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot, man. I remember, like, going in as a sophomore. I don't know that I felt like I belonged, ready to go. Like, I may have been there athletically or talent-wise, but, like, you still have to have that confidence factor.
Sure.
And so from my standpoint, like, seeing a guy like Kenny or Kettle Camp, they were ready.
Yeah.
Kenny ran for, like, 1,600 yards my senior year.
Nuts, yeah.
Like, as a sophomore.
Right.
Right? And so kind of giving that extra push. But what he did and what he's done with his professional career, it's just like the guy's been super successful. But I think that's probably because of his work ethic and
absolutely.
You saw how his
driven guy
raised him.
For sure. Let's move on to a little more SHG football here. We're done with our clips, so thank you to everyone that participated. That was incredible. Do you have a most memorable or favorable game or favorite game from your SHG days as a quarterback?
Most memorable, man. I don't like it. Just the whole experience was unbelievable. I don't know if I have a most memorable game.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite play? Like, if you could only run one play, what you got?
Well, of course you want to throw a bomb.
Yeah, right.
Like
that was my problem. All I wanted to do was throw bombs.
We had a play. We had a passing tree. It was it was called 66. You rolled out. It was a 14 back to 12. I told you earlier, dude. That was a fun one to throw it.
Sure.
But anytime you had a shot, like we did a wheel route off that, anytime you had a shot to throw a bomb was probably pretty fun.
Who did you love competing against in the CSA? There was obviously a lot of dogs in that era, in that time.
Wise.
Yeah.
I don't mean any disrespect to what's going on now, but like, what to me is kind of like, and I know those coaches, man, at Lanphier and Southeast, and they're trying to like work really hard at those programs, but like. We had some, like, dude, Southeast was
more well-rounded back in the day.
Well-rounded, right? Yeah. Southeast was loaded. Like, there was Edgar Ewing, Clarence Stewart.
Big E.
Some of those guys. You had, Lanphier had Brandy Granderson, Nico Scott,
Brandy Granderson.
Adamini Adamola.
Yeah.
Dante Douglas was their quarterback. Daniel Bottom.
Touchdown Bottom, I remember him.
Carl Teets.
Yeah, there's some names.
Springfield High. You look at you guys with like Lexus, Jonathan Wenger. I remember hit me probably harder than anybody's ever hit me in my life.
Grant Webb, Jonathan Wenger, really?
Yeah,
that's we hit that you remember.
We played baseball growing up, and so like I actually ran an option and I pitched it, and the cardinal rule is you don't look. You don't stare, and I did, and he hit me so hard and knocked the wind out of me, and he joked over the top of me, said, "I got you," But
that's great.
Chatham, obviously, dude. Like Chatham that's when Griffith just won,
state,
Juergens just won state, and so they were kind of like, look, they won a state title before us, so they were like, we thought we were the kings of the CS8.
Yeah,
Glenwood comes in, wins a state title, and they were legit. Sure. It's been since then. They've had great football programs. So that was some of that stuff. Like,
Sure. Yeah. And now a few words from our sponsors. We are also brought to you by Sheehan and Sheehan Lawyers, located at 1215 South 4th Street, Suite A. They can be contacted at 217-544-0701. I'm talking Pat Sr., Pat Jr., and Willie. They can be contacted for adoption needs, agricultural law, business and commercial law, estate planning, real estate planning, taxation, traffic and minor traffic offenses, personal injury, wrongful death suits. And I grew up with Willie playing baseball on the Southwest Braves. We were state champs. He played high school baseball and soccer at SHG. Pat Jr. was an accomplished baseball player at SHG, SCI, and finally the U of I. We really appreciate the Sheens here. Love this guy. Love this family. Great, great family. So go see these guys. Appreciate you. A very special thank you for the continued support to the Kaiser family. Thank you, Ryan and Mandy. We greatly appreciate you. We are also brought to you by The Office Sports Bar and Grill, located at 1919 West Isles Avenue. This is a really special place. I've been going there since probably 20 years, since I was in college. And there's just so much cool sports memorabilia, dating back through Springfield's history. All different high schools represented, pro guys, college guys. There's some great stuff on the walls. It's a great place to get together with friends, a great environment, inviting, warm, happy, lively. Great place for great conversation, great drinks, and great food. Please go see this place. Go patronize them. We really appreciate the support. The Office Sports Bar and Grill. We are also brought to you by Sitco Chiropractic. They can be reached at 217-525 and sitcochiropractic.com. They offer chiropractic care, corrective exercises, lifestyle advice, nutritional counseling, spinal and postural screenings. They are located at 205 North Grand Avenue. Love the Sitco family. From the dad, Steven, to Kyle and Casey, I grew up with them. Their brother, Tyler, was a big-time baseball player at SHG and SCI. There's a reason they have over 70 ratings on Google, and they're all 5.0. These guys are great. I went to them a few years back for some back issues I was having. They'll fix you right up. Go see Sitco Chiropractic. We are also brought to you by Safe House Home Inspections. They can be reached at 217-350-0350 or info@safehouseil.com. And of course, I'm talking about Dave and Jim House, Dave being the Lanphier head baseball coach. I played ball with him for the Springfield Pride, played against him growing up. He's an outstanding guy. Dave and Jim his dad have over 30 years of experience between them. They offer home inspections, termite inspections, radon testing, septic inspections, water quality test, pre-sale home inspections. And there's also $25 off for new customers. If you have any need for any of these services, Dave House with Safe House Home Inspections is who you need to go see. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. We are also brought to you by Cardinal Cleaning. They can be reached at cardinalcleaningonline.com and 217-679-6567. Owner-operator Adam Springer, local baseball dude, family friend, stand out at Chatham Glenwood in the mid-90s. Also had a stellar career at Rend Lake and Kentucky Wesleyan. Cardinal Cleaning can take care of any cleaning needs you have. Home, business, restaurant, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever you need, they can take care of you. Get a hold of Cardinal Cleaning. They'll do the rest. I'd love to hear then, how did you end up recruiting wise? How did you end up at Lindenwood? What's the story there?
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? Like I think you asked me about this. Like I don't have any regrets on my football career. So I'm going to take you where I'm going with this.
But you have regrets in other places, right?
I do.
I think Lindsay told me to ask you about that.
So one of the regrets I have when it comes to my football career is I didn't take academics seriously. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I was this cocky little kid that thought I'm like so good that I'll get into school.
Yeah. If I'm good enough, they'll get me in, right?
Yeah. When you're a 5'11" fat quarterback that can't run, that's not the case. And so I had some legit looks. I remember Jerry Kill for Southern Illinois Carbondale said literally said, "You are the guy we want.
Yeah.
But we're going to go in a different direction because the other guys got the grades together."
Damn.
I remember it. And he's like, "You can be a preferred walk-on."
Yeah.
I got a call from Louisiana Tech. I remember coming out of school, going into the office, you take the call with the coach.
Yeah.
And they said, "Look, we got a number one guy coming. You're number two." And stuff like that where I think I could have had better opportunities in football had I taken care of what I need to take care of with academics.
Yeah.
I didn't. So then you get into a situation all right, where are you going to go to school? And so my dad and I and Josh Lotte went up. We looked at Harper Community College.
Yep.
Griff had gone up there.
Yep. It used to be a powerhouse.
And then he went on to, I think, was it Northern Iowa?
Yep.
And I started looking at some of those type of schools and kind of what's my path for that. And, you still had to be honest with yourself. I was a 5'11" quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, what was Harper going to do for me from, like, Griff had good size.
Yeah.
Some of that kind of stuff. So, like, Lindenwood popped up. They had a great facility.
Yeah.
A lot of money down there. It was NAIA at the time. And so the way they structured their scholarships was they offered you 5-year scholarships regardless if you quit.
Really?
Like, so I had 5 years full education.
Oh, wow.
And so it kind of got to one of those things where I'm like, and so the coach that recruited me actually ran 4-wide offense. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I got my school paid for. I'm not going to go pro, like, whatever. So I went to Lindenwood.
Yeah.
Like a month before that, they fired the coach. And
Really?
they hired a guy named Rick Gorzinski, who was the Ken Leonard of St. Louis.
Gotcha.
He coached Hazelwood East.
Okay.
Which has, like, at the time, had, like, some of the most NFL players ever.
Yeah.
He ran the Joliet Catholic wing T offense.
Gotcha. Oh, that's not for you.
That's not for me, right? So, like, the other thing, we never watched film once.
Really?
We didn't hardly work out. Like, and we went, like, 1-11 my freshman year. Dude, it was the most.
That sounds odd.
You can't go from SHG
to that. That's like a step
to
down.
that.
Right.
And I remember calling my dad, and I got hurt, and it was like, and my dad was like, just stay there. Just stay there and try to play baseball there.
Right.
And I'm like, it's not fun. I can't. Like.
And Lindsay said, too, that it was like a commuter school, so that was weird for you, too. Like, no one was there
considered
on the weekends.
a suitcase college,
Yeah.
right, where everyone went home on the weekends.
Right.
And I didn't have money to get home
Right.
back and forth. I didn't have a car.
Right.
So, like, I was stuck there, sitting in a dorm by myself.
Right.
You know, a couple of football guys were there. But, like, dude, it wasn't a good experience for me. And, like, that's kind of when it was like, this is done. Like, football's done for me.
Yeah.
It was never going to be what it was in high school,
Yeah.
like all that kind of stuff. Now, I will say they ended up, like, a couple years later, they got rid of the coach. They brought in a coach. I think they won the NAIA national championship.
Yeah.
So, like, Lindenwood, like, pieced it together. And then obviously with PJ there, like, their Division I baseball, like,
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of money in that school.
Yeah.
But for me, it just wasn't the spot, you know, like, long term. I was like, dude, this sucks.
But football was your number one love, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So was that hard for you to be like, this isn't my path anymore?
It's tough to say goodbye. I mean, like, dude,
Yeah.
it's, you know, since the earliest I can remember, that was the sport that I loved more. I mean, I love all sports. I love hockey. I love basketball, baseball.
Yeah.
But, like, football was the one that I kind of dedicated my high school career to.
Yeah. Let's back it up, though, before we move on to the tour and the SCI stuff. A little bit of high school baseball. You know, SHG baseball during this era. Senior year, hit 375, 5 pumps. You were 13th in the CS8. 2.55 ERA, good for 6th in ERA. 67 punchies in 66 innings, 18 walks. So you were doing it. Second in the home run derby, I got that one. Who were some of your dudes that you loved to compete against in high school baseball around here?
I said it earlier.
You already got those, you think?
PJ was the standard.
Okay.
Right? To
Yep.
me, we didn't play Plains much. Like, so I knew Dusty because I went over and pitched that weekend with the Statesman. Like,
Yeah.
so I kind of got to meet Dusty and Eric Gum and those guys. But we didn't, like, from SHG, I think we played, like, one game against Plains. So it was more Central State 8, who we really kind of locked horns with. So PJ was the best of the best from the Central State 8.
Yeah.
Springfield High, man, had great baseball. Steinwart, I think, is one of Steinwart and Mooney. I think, no disrespect to anyone else, but those two to me were some of the best baseball minds. Greer out in Pleasant.
And that was the era
well.
of like Timmy Wan and Greg Taylor
Yeah.
and like Randy Rice. Like those guys were dogs.
Yeah, like just great baseball talent. But they've always been. I mean, Coach Steinwart dude, what a coach, right? Yeah. And so like you had for Springfield High, you had Vicari, you had Ledbetter, you had Scott Sailing.
Scott Sailing, yeah.
Sailing had a bomb off me in the state tournament. Told me about it every
he had
time.
An insane senior year. Yeah, he snapped off.
Threw really hard. Southeast had guys like J.R. Kais and Adam Locker.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I had a great pitching senior year.
You did.
And I lost all 3 of the state tournament games. So
really?
I lost to Sailing, which I think we probably were expected maybe to beat Springfield High.
Okay.
Sailing hit a bomb off me right out of the gate and beat me like a really like a big battle. But like Springfield High was always what I thought they did good. And I'm guessing there was some coaching and how you guys prepared for it. But you guys were really good at fastball hitting. Like, so like, I'm guessing that was like they came in ready to go. They probably had batting practice beforehand.
From what I remember,
short to the mound.
If we were getting ready for a guy that had velo, which I'm sure they looked at you as, it would be totally different preparation to be short, short BP to get things going fast. Like he was trying to prepare for that.
Yeah, and those guys, like they beat me in the state tournament, and then you go Southeast, Adam Locker and I. So like I was kind of facing the number ones, right? And Locker and I had a good battle. They took Locker and Kais, those guys. So like I lost that game, and then I come in to face PJ, and we battled, man.
Two best buddies facing each other. That's cool.
We had a hell of a battle, and they came out on top, right?
Yeah.
So PJ won the state tournament, but then you go out to like Chatham. I got beat in the regionals by a freshman, Casey Erickson.
Casey,
right?
Man,
So like, and obviously you knew who the Ericksons were, like,
yeah.
But like that's where you start to see the specialness of what he brought as a freshman.
And nuts.
And that breaking ball, like I still remember. I mean, he had great fastball, all that stuff, but like his breaking ball was above average, right? Like it was a special breaking ball. I don't remember some of the other teams, like Taylorville, I think sucked. Sorry.
It's okay.
Lincoln, we had some battles. Remember there was like one or two where we almost got in a fight, like bench clearing brawls with Lincoln. Just competitive stuff, right? But like I faced Eric Gum, Petersburg once.
Yeah.
I had more battles with Eric at Lincoln Land SCI.
Eric Gum. His name gets brought up so much on here as just like the guy that people are like, he was unbelievable. Yeah. For sure. Just a true talent. Do you know where you were at, Velo, in high school?
I think I was probably high 80s.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. And then, were you getting looks baseball-wise? Like, what was going on there?
I pretty much made it known. Tor was
Football
great.
was it.
Like, Tor and Coach Riggle, obviously two phenomenal coaches in the baseball area. Kind of both just said, hey, if you ever want to play. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'll
let you
football.
know. Right.
But they were great. I mean, and so what's crazy for me, and I know you're going to get to the SCI stuff, but like.
Right next, yeah.
My oldest brother was on the 95 Lincoln Land team that was like third in the country, I think, for World Series. Mm-hmm. And I helped kind of almost like bat boy to some degree.
Oh, cool.
And Coach Riggle, at the time, Krasik was the head coach.
Theo Fifi would have been on that team.
Yeah.
Remember that name?
Yep. And Andy Danner.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you want to talk about a guy as a young kid, like watching how Andy Danner, like, went to war as like, I hate how some of the stuff's going in pitching now, where they throw in 4 innings or 3 innings.
It's a different game, yeah.
I still, to this day, I remember in Millington, Tennessee, watching Andy Danner pitch the game of his life. But, like, dude, it was like, hey, here's our horse. He's coming out, and, like, he's going to throw 8 innings.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't see that as much in the game anymore. So, like, to me as a pitcher, that's what like, in high school, I think a stat I remember I pitched every game was a complete game.
You had a lot of innings, if I recall. Yeah, looking at that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I never came out. So, and then I think at SCI, I'd have to check with Tor. I came out once for an injury. Other than that, I pitched complete game every single game I pitched.
Man, that's nuts. So, that's a different time.
Like, just grab it and go.
Yeah, well, there's probably a reason your arm eventually started to fall apart there, buddy. Let's move on to SCI then. So you realize Lindenwood is not going to be your future. What's the next move then? You call Tor?
So this is actually, like, I don't know if you knew this story or
I
not.
don't.
I feel like you're setting me up on this one.
I'm not setting you up for anything.
I called Tor and tell him I want to come play for him.
Mm-hmm.
He hangs up on me.
You think it's a joke?
He thought it was Skip Clayton screwing around with me. And so I call him back. I'm like, Tor. And so you got to understand, like,
That's
I just told you my Riggle connection.
Yeah.
My connection to the Torricellis, Jim Torricelli coached my brother at SHG.
Yeah.
And he picked me up almost like every game to come be their bat boy when I was a little kid.
That's awesome.
So, like, our connection with the Torricelli family is
deep.
insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I was kind of debating Lincoln Land. They were better, but SCI Tor was starting to build it, right? He was starting to put that program together.
Yeah.
And I felt comfortable with Tor, and I'm like, I'm going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I call him. He hangs up on me. I call him back. I'm like, Tor, dude, I want to come play for you. Like, what the fuck? And so he's like, this isn't Selinger, da-da-da, and, all this other stuff. So, like, I tell him I want to, and he's like, you meet me at China Star on the north end.
I think he did tell me this.
And he said, but I won't do anything unless your dad says. And my dad calls us and says, hey, I'm at a big meeting. He's got my permission. And so I went, played for Tor. And I'll tell you one other thing really quick, and I know we're probably killing time. So
we got time to kill, buddy.
First day I'm there. It's syllabus day.
Yeah.
Like, no one goes to syllabus day.
Right.
No one goes to class. I didn't know Tor was such a stickler for going to class. So we get out to fall ball that day at Lanphier, and he goes, everyone down the line.
He did tell me this story, but let's go.
He says, all right, you no good. Like, you know, he's like, one of you skip school today.
Yeah.
And you better step out and man up right now. And so, like, dude, I kind of do, like, one of those.
Shit, is this me? Right.
And no one's stepping out. So I'm like, So I have to step out. I step out.
Yep.
He makes me come out to the second baseline in the outfield, 90 feet away. And I count, like, 70 sprints for the team.
Oh, no.
Kids are puking. It's my first day on the team.
Making a great impression.
Dude, like Kenny said, you only make your first impression, right? Like, I go and apologize to the clubhouse, and then I went out and ran it. Had one of the guys count it.
Yep.
But, dude, it was like, dude, welcome to the team.
That's great. That's funny that Bull and Tor are like best buddies, right? And
I think they were the high school teammates.
Yeah, they played together. So Bull pulled the same shit on me in college, and I skipped too, and lined the whole team up. So they must have taken plays out of each other's playbook here. But he was like, "All right, who skipped class today? Step forward." Exact same thing. And I was like, "I know it's me." So, but it wasn't just like 10 of us stepped forward. He only knew it was me. And when 10 of us stepped forward, he was like, "You motherfuckers," And then we're on the line.
I heard that's like their trick. So I've talked to kids that like even now play. They're like, "Oh, he does it every." So like he has his way of like, I don't even know if he knew I skipped. Like I just, I had that guilty conscience where I stepped out.
I think Bull did the same. I don't think Bull knew anything. He probably just was like, all right, let's just take a chance, see if anyone, and like half the team stepped out.
I remember Bull though, dude, like when I was a little kid in Millington, because he would pitch batting practice. I mean, that dude had an arm.
Absolutely.
Great cannon.
I think he still has the city record for like most strikeouts in a season in high school. Like went to Coastal Carolina. Like he was a dog. People forget about that.
We had we started to put together a team at SCI. So like Lincoln Land was higher rated. They were.
Yeah, who had been at SCI when you were there? Who was that kind of who your teammates?
Mark Clayton came back from SEMO.
Right.
We had Dustin Vicari was the shortstop. My favorite catcher of all time, Andy Barnes.
Andy Barnes, yeah,
was my catcher at the time. Kyle Ledbetter was center fielder. That dude could just hawk. Yes. Like he caught everything.
He did, yeah. Great range.
Sean Shea from Chatham.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one of those guys like that just battled, played. But we had 3 arms that were Josh Hinton from Chatham.
Chatham, yeah,
big lefty,
big dog,
threw hard, and then we had Zach Hinnings from Taylorville. It's like a 6'6" righty that started touching 90.
Yeah,
and
Hinton was up there in the 90 range too. Wasn't he? Low 90s, 90.
So like we had 3 of us that started throwing it that way.
Yeah, it's impressive.
That you all of a sudden start to put that together a little bit.
Absolutely. Were you freshman of the year in the MWAC? I think you were, right? Yeah, I think I saw that, read that. So, dealing obviously, feeling good. Like how was that transition to football to baseball?
It was fun, man. It was a great group of kids. Yeah. That was my best year of my life from a pitching perspective.
Yeah.
Like Andy Barnes and I were on the same. You just think when a catcher pitcher, like he knew what I wanted, how to, he knew exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
How you start setting kids up, and like we didn't really know what I was going to do from SCI. Like I was wanting to kind of play field because I'd played third, I'd played catcher at SHG. I also had a good arm, so like
had some pop.
We went out to the spring trip in Arizona, and I lost against Mesa Community College, but like it was a close game, and I pitched pretty well.
And obviously, those kind of community colleges out there, top tier,
they were loaded, right? And so I think that's when Tor kind of came to me, actually knocked on my door. We talked outside the hotel, and he kind of just said, like, "Look, I could play you all over the place, but like, you have a path right now.
You want to go to the next level?"
Yeah. And so the back half of the spring trip, I threw a 2-hitter. And this was like again, I hadn't played like.
Right.
I didn't play freshman year of college. I played senior year of high school, but I played no summer ball.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, I was coming off of, like, one school season since my sophomore year of high school of playing baseball.
Yeah.
And, like, I went out and threw a 2-hitter. So then you start to realize, like, okay, hey, this is, like, there's something here.
Something's here, yeah.
You kind of embraced, like, to me. I saw you ask this question before, like, favorite baseball movies.
Yeah. You jumping ahead.
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game. Why?
Because as he's talking through himself, like on the mound and thinking, and like,
did that resonate with you?
I'm a big emotion guy. From like, I can get amped up on stuff, but like, I was like out there battling on the mound. Like I would take stuff personal. If you stood too close to the plate, I'd hit you. Like I just like, dude, there was a game within the game inside my head.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Of when I played, like, you know, and so like I watched that game, and you kind of see as he's kind of like thinking through stuff and you know, all this kind of stuff. Like, it was just one of those things. Like, to me, that was a thing that just like where I put my head back into how I kind of pitched.
I love that. Let's play a clip here. Let's go Toro as a pitcher.
Toro.
You know, we're going to get a power arm that was raw that we were going to try to develop into a, you know, more of a pitcher than just a thrower.
Okay.
And I remember seeing some pictures of him where, I mean, we tried fixing it over and over. There were times where his head was almost sideways at times coming down the mound. You know,
Really?
it was grip it and rip it and just try to blow it by you type of guy. He developed a nice breaking ball and tried getting a feel for a changeup that, you know, it was you know, a live arm with some, you know, next level type velocity. It was probably in the lower 90s, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, during that time frame, that's a pretty good velocity around here, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, that was unheard of back then to have anyone put a 9 on a radar gun, you know,
Right.
89 or 90 or 91.
And this is going to be Travis Scott on Brad as a pitcher.
Yeah, it was my first season with the Rifles. So right after that redshirt freshman year, Bull asked me to go join the Rifles, and Selinger. I mean, all I remember is that he was a lot of fun to catch, just because I knew exactly what pitch was going to be delivered and where most of the time. His misses were never big misses, you know, and when he did miss, they were either down or off. So he rarely left anything up in the zone. And aside from being able to drink a lot of beer, he was a big strike thrower. You know, he didn't really walk many guys. He was a kind of what I like to call old reliable. You know, he was going to give you a good outing. He never had a horrible outing. You know, he either had a really good outing or just a good outing. You know.
Yeah.
And he gave 3 or 4 or 5 innings. I'm trying to remember if we used him in a relief role or a starting role. I think he kind of did both.
But, PJ said something about like to try to draw fans in. Squires would only schedule him for like Friday nights at like Landfair Park because a lot of North End Selingers, you know, SHG people would come out to root for him.
Oh yeah, he was like the mayor of the Landfair Park League, you know. So you knew a little more fans were going to be in the seats for him, for sure.
Yeah. Where was he at velo wise when you were catching him?
So when we were playing with the Rifles, you know, I can't recall exactly, you know, how much rest our pitchers got for that summer compared to like a typical pro starter. You know, 1 start, 4 days rest. You know, mixing and throwing in the bullpen every now and then. But so I think he was able to recoup pretty well. So, but I remember him sitting 91, 92.
Yeah.
And maybe touching 93, 94.
Yep.
But, yeah, good life on all of his pitches. He had 4 good pitches, good heavy sinker, especially for like a smaller stature righty.
Right.
You know, he kind of had that quick, short arm action, and it was kind of deceptive. And those guys always give me fits, too. I like the big, long, you know, Iron Mike looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was deceptive. Good Uncle Charlie. Get me over 12-6 curveball, and he could throw that for a strike whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
And I thought his out pitch was either his slider or his changeup because, you know, when he threw his changeup, you know, some pitchers will just kind of guide it, but he threw the shit out of it, you know, and it looked like a fastball. Good four-seam action with late depth on it. So I like calling his changeup and when he was behind in the count. And you could pretty much rely on it being in the zone too. That was a lot of fun to catch and call pitches.
So I think I read an article where you were kind of sitting low 90s, but then there were some touches in the mid. Is that what you remember? What's the highest you ever hit? 95, 96? Was that? I read that at least.
So at Washington State, I hit the highest, and I think I have my reasons why. Like that's where you went into a legit workout
strength and
facility.
conditioning.
Squats, deadlifts, like I started lifting pretty heavy from that aspect. So like I hit 97 against Arizona State. That was Dustin Pedroia. You know, I hit 96 on the gun with the Rifles.
Yeah. remember reading that article.
Yeah. So like I didn't pitch at that level, right? Like I pitched probably 92 to 93.
Yeah.
Ballpark. But like I was very much I could get pretty amped on certain situations, and then like I got a lot of regrets in baseball though, man. Like I'll tell you,
let's go right now.
From a football perspective, nothing, dude. Like I worked my ass off in football. Right. With baseball, it was kind of like, cool, dude. Like, let's go chuck it. Let's go pitch. You learn how to pitch and do some of that stuff. But like, I didn't take baseball seriously.
As you feel like you
for
should
the
have.
talent that I had.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so,
I mean, that's the kind of arm that should be playing for
100%
for some pro ball at some point,
or just at least getting a cup of coffee. But like, dude, I didn't earn that right to get a shot at the minors. When I think of like J.R. Keyes, we talked about him. Right, like his work ethic, and P.J. Finnegan, and
second to none. You're right.
Phil Laurent, Dusty, like dude, those guys worked at their craft.
Yeah, for sure.
From a baseball perspective, I was, I competed when I was on the field.
Right.
Like I would argue, I'll compete with anybody.
Right.
When I'm doing something,
but not the same level of effort.
That's not what you do for preparation in the off season.
Yeah.
How you get in shape.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, and so like, that's probably my biggest regret. Like, from a baseball perspective of like, man, if you would have taken it seriously.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
The other thing too was like, I didn't know how to throw. Like Tor says I had a breaking ball. I actually was watching a YouTube video like a year ago, and I was like, no shit, that's how you throw a curveball. Like I didn't know how to throw.
What pitches did you throw?
I mean, fastball change, and I threw a breaking ball, but it was effective because it was a different speed of my fastball. It
not
wasn't
because of the shape of it,
it
or how hard it broke. Yeah,
and that's when my arm kind of went at Washington State. Like, I did work to get back, but like then at that point I was like high 80s righty with a shitty breaking ball.
There's a lot of those out there.
I did throw like a funny story. And I still to this day can throw a knuckleball that's pretty gnarly, but like when I threw it in games, I threw it so hard it wasn't a knuckleball. It was almost like a sinker or something, or a splitter. Or
whatever. Like one hard sharp.
I couldn't control it.
Okay, gotcha.
So like when it was on, dude, it was nasty.
Sick.
When it wasn't, it just floated. And so I'm pitching at Washington State. I remember this coach calls 0-2. I get this kid, left-hander, and he calls it.
Power knuckle?
I shake off, right? And I'm like, no. And I hear from the dugout, throw the goddamn pitch. I throw it, dude. It just floats in there. This dude hits a bomb, dead center. And they played, I'll never forget it, man. They played on the song, You Dropped the Bomb on Me, as they're running around. And just like, the minute he hit it, I put my glove up, like, just throw me a football. But that's like, from a baseball perspective, man, like I don't regret it, dude. It paid for my school. I got my education paid for. I traveled up and down the Western U.S.
Yeah.
Like, the Pac-10, and I know I'm jumping ahead on you, but
You're fine.
At the time when I played in the Pac-10, it was the number one conference in the country.
Yeah.
There was no debate.
Lights out baseball out there.
And
unique
so,
for someone from here to go there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So like, dude, it was like Arizona State. I pitched against Dustin Pedroia, Travis Buck.
Oh, I remember T-Buck. Yeah.
Oh, wait, actually, Buck might have been. Was Buck USC?
So, no, he was Arizona State. He might have been player of the year, wasn't he?
Who broke Barry Bonds' record at Arizona State. Like, those were the three guys I faced.
Wow.
And actually got him out, right, from that aspect. And then I faced Stanford, was number one in the country at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, I faced Jed Lowry, who, switch hitter, had hit a home run left, a home run right, and then a home run left. So I come and face him. But the one that scared me the most was John Mayberry Jr.
Oh, I remember
he looked
him.
like Frank Thomas.
Big black dude, yeah.
Yeah, and I was throwing hard. So, like, that was the only batter I ever got my glove up. Really? When I threw it, because like I'm like, dude, if he hits this thing, like I think I jammed him. Oregon State had Jacoby Ellsbury and Darwin Barney.
Oh man, these are names.
You think
dude.
of Washington had Tim Lincecum.
Oh, the freak.
Jeff Lillibridge. Whew. Yeah, they had some guys. I'm blanking on some of the USC guys. Arizona had just a haul of people. Like, but it was crazy. That to me was like. Pretty cool.
Huge baseball. Let's back it up a little bit. You end up on the Rifles. after that year. Shovin. There's a funny story. Somehow Claude Krasik is involved in getting you to Washington State. Do you know that? I don't. All I know is that there's a story.
Yeah. So, and Tor was great. Obviously from the SCI side, helping with coaches. Like he was getting me looks from like Danny Callahan at Southern.
Sure. PJ still mad at you didn't go to Southern.
Yeah, different schools. So then I go. Dude, it was like the craziest 2 weeks of my life. Like, I get on the Rifles, which that was a big deal because there was
huge deal.
Never ever an SCI player on the Rifles.
Right.
Rifles was kind of synonymous with Lincoln Land, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they let me on the Rifles, and so I'm pitching, and at the time it was kind of like more of a reliever my first year, and I think that's when I hit like 95, 96 on the gun, and it was the old Illinois State head coach that had gotten whacked.
Bramley, or was that it?
His name sounds familiar, but like he was now the scout for somebody, I forget who.
Okay.
I think the Padres, but he sees me.
Yeah.
Asked me after the game, like, dude, what's your story? And I'm like, because I got hurt in football.
Like, why are you here?
I had
mid-90s?
another
Who the hell
year
are you?
in SCI.
Right. Yeah.
Because I redshirted my freshman year.
He wished he had got you another year. Yeah.
So this is like July 25th.
Yeah.
Like school's starting in like 3 weeks. And he's like, do you want to go somewhere? I'm like, sure. I had my associate's degree. I had all the education done.
Yeah.
So like any credits I took at SCI the following year was wasted.
Yeah, just
it was just I was there to play. And so this dude picks the phone up. I had Purdue, Illinois, Evansville, Eastern, Bradley.
Wow.
Danny Callahan called me. And dude, my family goes back. My dad was like the deputy chief of staff for Gene Callahan.
Oh, Gene.
Like, so,
legend,
I mean,
yeah.
the Callahans were like family.
Absolutely. Yep.
And at the time, Callahan called and he's like, look, I want you here, but I have no more money.
Yeah.
So, like, come for this year. And I had schools offering, like they basically, whoever had money left, there's like, here, we'll give it all to you.
Yeah.
Like, come. Krasik, as I understood it, was helping coach in Alaska Summer League or doing something up there.
Yeah.
Gets connected with the Washington State head coach, Tim Moomey. And he's like, hey, we got kids that can play too. And, oh, by the way, we got this pitcher. And just kind of like, tells them, right?
Yeah.
So Washington State comes into the mix. And I get like, I think it was like Arkansas State. Dude, it was like 20 offers in like 2 weeks.
That's insane.
So I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like,
right?
I go from nothing to like 20. And I told you from before, man, like I went out to an official visit. They flew me out to Washington State. And the facilities, they were coming off, them in Oklahoma were the only three 10-win seasons in football. So their facilities, they just started to invest.
Yeah.
Like it was a big time program, right? So like I went out there, I was like, this is amazing. And then they basically, their recruiting pitch was like, hey, you could play in the Midwest. And I don't believe this now. Like I think you could play anywhere and, make a great thing of it. But he basically challenged me and said, do you want to come compete against the best in the country?
Yeah.
And back to what my dad did, like when he didn't, he's like, I always had that regret of not going play for Alabama. So I was like, fuck it, let's go. Like I'm going to go for it and see what happens. And so like in hindsight, maybe playing for Tor or for Cal or something like that probably would have been a better move than playing with PJ and Brewer and those guys. But like, man, I went for it. I don't have any regrets from like going for it.
Yeah.
My regrets just center on like, I could have done so much more to prepare or have a work ethic or get myself in shape. Like I didn't do any of that from a baseball perspective. It was just kind of like, well, let's do it.
Well, good for you for being honest. And then I think Lindsay said that the guys out there, the friends you made, has been very impactful for you, really important, very close with them. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, but it's not just the baseball guys, man. So like, this is like a funny story. The football and baseball team in Washington State hated each other. They fought all the time.
Interesting.
I get out there, and the middle linebacker for Washington State at the time, backup middle linebacker, Tommy Tribbett's one of my best friends. He's a sidearm pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to come play on the baseball team.
Yeah.
All the baseball teams like, fuck this football player. Like he gets on the bus. I just go sit next to him because I was like, dude, like I start talking football.
Yeah, I'm a
like,
football player too.
And so like all of a sudden, he starts being like, hey, come down to this party, and I'm bringing him to a party, and then he's bringing 2 friends, and I'm bringing 3 friends. And
Did you bring football and baseball together?
Oh, 100%. I'd be like I don't have, that's one. Sadly, it was probably over drinking and partying, but
of course.
Yeah, dude, it just got to a house where we had a baseball house that I was in, and we had a football house, and we just mixed nights on whose party was whose. But like my buddies out there, dude, like there's some big time football players. Like Alex Brink was in the NFL with the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
one of the all time leading passers in the Pac-10. Washington State, like Jed Collins got fullback of the year in the NFL 2012.
Yeah.
Guys like that, dude, that you just start to meet and stuff like that. It's like it's lifelong, friendships. So.
I love stuff like that. Yeah. Before we go all the way there, I want to get a little more rifles. PJ called it the worst rifles team of all time. Said you guys were awful. He mentioned a funny story about they would line up your starts to only be at Landfield.
Yeah, because they went to sell beer.
Yeah, because you guys had the North End connection. You guys, all the Sellingers would be coming out and whatnot, and
it was a party, man.
Yeah, and then obviously there's this famous. You guys recreated the Bull Durham stuff. Yeah. Do you remember it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You want to tell it?
It was yesterday. The only thing PJ got wrong, because I had to answer questions at home. PJ tells the story that we both left the next morning to visit our girlfriends.
That's not accurate?
Well, that's not accurate because my girlfriend was in London. So my wife had a question of like, what girl were you visiting in Chicago? PJ, so the story on that, I think PJ covered it, but like Danville spent like thousands of dollars, and we saw, we were just getting drummed.
Yeah,
they spent like thousands of dollars on their fireworks.
Yeah,
they kept us like 5 hours in a rain delay.
Oh gosh,
so we were just pissed off.
Right.
Weaver taught us how to try to start a brawl in the big leagues. Because, like, we were all just, like, mad. PJ wasn't playing, I don't think. I'm in, like, tennis shoes. Because they always said, we're only going to pitch you at home for the, try to get a crowd. And so I'm sitting there, like, whatever. And Weaver's all pissed off. And, like, honestly, you want to talk about, like, a sponge. Like, playing for Eric Weaver was awesome.
Oh, man. He's incredible. The stories, the experience.
Like, PJ and I sat. I think usually we had a beer with us majority of the time. But, like, just sat and listened to his stories.
Yes.
But, like, he helped you as a player. I remember the first time stepping on the field with him, he's like, here's how Pedro held his changeup. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to listen to you.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. Sure. But they keep us forever. So they hit our left fielder, and Weaver goes, you want to see how to start a fight in the bigs? We're going to hit their left fielder, hit the same position. That's the signal.
Yeah.
We hit their left fielder 4 times. Like every time we kind of start standing by the, the fence and like waiting for it to go. And it never went. But we get home, and it's late, and so we're kind of sitting there, we're like, fuck this, we're not playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it was me, PJ, I thought it was Travis Scott.
It was T. Scott. Yep.
Jumped the fence, and we watered the field down. And then we all went back and had quite a bit of drinks at my parents' house. PJ got on the road first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And then they called and said, we got more rain than we thought we did. Games canceled. So I was not visiting any girls in Chicago.
Clarified.
Yeah.
Clarified. I love
Thanks,
it.
PJ, for that one.
Let me go. T. Scott has his rendition of this. I'm going to play it. Here goes T. Scott.
Yeah. I just remember grabbing a case of beer that we stopped and picked up for us on the way home.
Yep.
And we were just conspiring and Squires' RV on the drive home, like, dude, how do we get our 4th of July back to ourselves instead of for this game? And somehow I got mixed into PJ and Selly just drinking beer, and I don't know how. I think I was guilty by association, but I was like, I'm going home about it myself. I think they had plans in Chicago or something.
Yeah, they did. Yes.
I just wanted to go see fireworks with my girlfriend at the time, so I was all on board with trying to get this to happen. So we grabbed what was left of the beer, and we basically said he's not buying us beer unless we drink it all by the time we get home. But we had some. We still had some left over. We took it, and I was just following these guys because this is like their home park. They play here. They can ball in, they can break in if they wanted to. They know exactly where the hose hookup is, and so they did their part. They broke us in, but I did my part with the hose. And I just remember the pitcher's mound and the home plate had tarps on it, and the rest of the field didn't have a tarp on it. But I grabbed that hose, I cranked it on full blast, and I just shoved it underneath that tarp. And I remember watching all this, mud just start pouring down the sides of home plate, and I'm like, dude, we got to rain out.
Oh man, that is great. What a great story.
So we've heard PJ's rendition, we've heard T. Scott's, and we've heard some of your renditions. So that's the Bull Durham story amongst you three.
I still remember. I'll tell you a Mary Finnegan story because I remember. I think like the next day, she's like,
"What the hell do you guys do?
You know, you guys, little jackasses, like what you just did." And I think my dad came up and was like, "Hey," which I probably will get a bill from Mr. Squires now because he's like,
"Larry,
yeah, that's going to cost them money from fans." Which so looking back on that, you feel bad, but like as young kids growing up and this and that, it was fun, dude. It's a fun story.
As cheap as Larry Squires was, I don't think you should feel bad, to be honest with you. Yeah. Dude, so I played for the Rifles the next year, or maybe it was 2 years after that, but Larry ended up leaving midway through the summer because he was over us. And just like took his RV. He was
kind of teetering on the edge where he was like wanting to go drive the RV and travel. And
so he took his RV, which is what we primarily, we'd have a van and an RV. And the RV disappeared and Larry disappeared. So then we went down to like 9 for games and stuff. So like there was no injuries. I ended up playing like some infield and shit. Like it was interesting.
Yeah, we had some good talent on the team. We just weren't like, it just was like PJ's point, man. We were bad. Our record was bad.
So how are we looking? So I initially asked you for the 3-hour time window. We got about 22 minutes until 3 o'clock. Do you have anything on the other end of 3?
Good.
Keep rolling?
Yep.
I'm loving it. Let's go. Washington State. So arm problems. I don't know the whole story there, but only 7 innings total pitched there.
Yeah.
What was the story kind of there with your arm? What was going on?
So I went out. I transfer out from a red shirt sophomore.
Yeah.
Pretty good ball club, like a good team that year. We were going to be the general rule of thumb at the time, the Pac-10 was if you were 500, you're in the regionals.
Yeah,
which is kind of where we want to be. We came down to the final series. It was either Cal or Oregon State, and we had to sweep it to go 500.
Yeah.
So like we were coming into the last series, we were right there to be in the regionals.
Sure.
I go out in the fall and kind of won like a closer spot. Because I was pumping strikes. Throwing hard, and I make the travel squad because 25-man travel squad. My first outing, I think, was a save. I got against like 14th ranked or 16th ranked UC Irvine. Mm-hmm. It was at the Pepperdine Classic in Malibu, which was just like you couldn't ask for a better like opening to college baseball.
Cool atmosphere.
From that aspect. Yeah. My tendon kept sliding on me on my elbow.
Really?
And so what was happening? Like, I could come out and I could pump into the 90s, or I could come out and throw, like, 83.
Depending on where it was kind of at, sitting?
Yeah, it was moving.
Interesting.
And so, like, it was very apparent very quickly I wasn't going to be the closer.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't reliable. Like,
right.
You didn't know what my arm had. And, like, again, I wasn't a guy with great stuff. Like, my MO was power. Like, I came in, I threw hard, and, then you try to change speeds or change spots and stuff like that. So I pitched. Like, I think, what'd you say, 7 innings? 8 innings?
7 innings total.
Yeah.
7.1 or something like that?
It was probably like 7 appearances or 6 appearances or 8 appearances, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was like 1 inning spurts. And, it was cool, man. I got to play at UCLA. I pitched at Arizona. My dad came out for that one. Stanford. So, like, I got to pitch against some of the big teams.
Yeah.
The arm wasn't there.
What were they doing to try to remedy that, get that right?
So I had the St. Louis Cardinals doctor did my surgery.
Paletta?
Yeah, Paletta. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's funny. So he comes in and he's like, "Look, I just did Matt Morris' surgery.
Yeah.
Something very similar. I got a big zipper up the elbow.
Yep.
And he says, the chance, what do you say, 85% chance you're gonna come back throwing a mile or two harder, and 15% chance you don't."
Wait, was this TJ or was this something else?
It was similar. So they had to go in and basically dig into my bone and then pin my tendon down.
So it wouldn't slide around anymore?
So it wouldn't slide around. And so he was like, 85% chance you throw a mile or two harder.
Yeah.
And then he basically said, 50% chance you don't, 15. And I said, what if I don't have the surgery? Because we went down there for a consultation. And I think one of my dad, I don't know if it was Jim Bells or someone got me into the Cardinals doctor. And the guy basically said, if you don't have the surgery, you're done pitching in 6 months. And so, at the time, my velo was starting to hit to where I was like, I'm going to have the surgery.
Yeah.
So I had the surgery. My head coach at the time, he just became a new head coach at Washington State, was pissed that I had the surgery. But I kind of battled through the first year out there.
Yeah.
I have the surgery. I go back in fall ball, was competing for the number 2 spot My roommate was the number one. Wayne Damon played Double-A with the Cardinals. Country boy, just 4-pitch guy. So I was competing for the Saturday spot of the Pac-10, which was like a big role. If I had it, I had the surgery, and the coach was like not happy, at all. But like at the time, I was making a decision I thought was the best for me from a baseball, like a career perspective.
Yeah.
I come back, dude, and I actually did like work really hard to try to get back, my arm, and I was hitting like 88 to touching 90, 89, 90.
Not the same though.
But I was a righty with like not good stuff, and so what happened was that was the first year. My first year out there, we had Ted Mooney. We just missed regionals. They whack them.
Mm-hmm.
They bring this new coach in, Donnie Marbett. This is where you saw the business side of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He cut majority of our upperclassmen a couple weeks before school.
And now a few words from our sponsors. We are also brought to you by Milner Dentistry, located at 755 South Grand Avenue West. They can be reached at 217-528-3384. Dr. Ty and his staff are incredible. The place is clean. They do amazing work. They can handle all your dentistry needs. Thanks again to Dr. Ty for agreeing to sponsor us here. He was a standout at Rochester, SCI, and then later had a really cool story of walking on at the U of I. Have a ton of respect for this guy. Please go support Dr. Ty and Milner Dentistry. We are also brought to you by Hammers Radon Mitigation Solutions. You can reach them at 217-670-4292, hammersradon@gmail.com, or head on over to their website, hammersradonmitigation.com. They do exactly what you need. This is everything radon that you can think of. This is Les Hammers. This is a Springfield firefighter, a former standout football player at Jacksonville, a Truman State, and then played a little pro ball, a little arena ball himself. Since opening, Hammers Radon Mitigation Solutions have become masters of their craft. Their commitment to quality mitigation, exceptional services, and incomparable customer care keep our homeowners safe. They never stop improving and will continue to expand their offerings. Get in touch with Les today. You will not be disappointed. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks, Les. We are also brought to you by BSN Sports, specifically Adam Anderson, who grew up playing ball with Blaine Cravens and Walt Patton, former guests here, and played football at Illinois College. BSN Sports, the nation's leading supplier of sporting goods, uniforms, and apparel. They provide game-changing solutions to their customers and work to make life easier for coaches. They have over 13 sales pros in the central Illinois area. Reach out to Adam Anderson at adam.anderson@bsnsports.com. They'll take care of you. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks, BSN.
Wow. Baseball, as you know, is a yearly scholarship, right? And so you don't see it a lot because the school will get a bad reputation.
Nobody does that.
Well, he did.
Wow.
And so, like a small, crazy story, I was in the room with Wayne Damon was one of them, played for the Cardinals. Another guy was Greg Kime that, he calls me. He's like, dude, Marbett just cut me. And this is like August 4th. Right? And so he cut.
What are you supposed to do now, right?
So he goes to a JUCO.
Okay.
Next 2 years, he's one of the main guys on the bullpen for Oregon State. They won the World Series 2 years in a row. So Keimer was throwing like 95, which was pretty awesome. Like, dude, good for you.
Validated.
He kicked Washington State's butt.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. But he kept me. He kept another guy, Jimmy Freeman.
Interesting.
Lefty pitcher. And so I think he was like super pissed that like I decided to have that surgery.
Oh, right, because he kept you. You're right. But you're going to be out for a while.
What I mean by the business decision, what he did the following year is he played almost majority freshmen, sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
We went 1-23 in the conference.
Yikes.
So we go from almost being 500 to now 1-23. But why it made sense, that freshman class was the first class in like years that went to the regionals. He just was like, hey, I'm new. I'm going to play these guys. I'm going to give them experience. They're going to get their butts kicked a little bit. But like
a couple years.
So like, dude, I never had heartache on it. One, because I didn't love baseball to that level. Like my dad was super pissed because I came back and I was still serviceable. I could have pitched.
Yeah.
I could have actually pitched a lot of innings for that team.
Yeah.
Like there was no doubt that I could have pitched for those kids.
Yeah.
But he had a different plan and kind of what he was doing.
Okay.
His plan long term was the right plan for the program. So like I don't get mad at that piece like my dad did because like his kid stopped playing. But like,
did you leave another year of eligibility on the table?
I did, but I didn't. I got my degree.
Yeah,
like I graduated, and you saw the writing on the wall. So like,
right,
I think I told him I was done. Because it was pretty apparent, like I wasn't going to play at that point. What I don't like, I look back at Washington State, I look back at the Pac-10. No questions could I have played in that league because I did. I pitched against some of those guys, and what I saw, like my arm didn't hold up to that level, and I also didn't put the work in that I needed to.
Yeah.
So like I don't have a look back on that being like, oh, I don't know if I could have played there. Like I could have on a heartbeat, but so could have PJ and those guys. Like those guys would have been just fine. Those guys would have been big time in that league.
Now, when you were at your probably pinnacle shoving, like, let's say rifles this time, were you getting pro attention? Were scouts talking to you?
We had, so if I remember correctly, they were starting to have the advisors, right? Because you couldn't have agents. Mm-hmm. So I talked to, I think, one or two of those guys coming, that had been going into my redshirt junior year. This is when I decided to have the surgery.
Yeah.
I started getting some looks because, like, again, when my arm was held, like, when it wasn't sliding on me, I threw hard.
Right.
So you started having a couple of, like, conversations on, like, the advisors.
Yeah.
But not from a serious perspective.
Okay.
Like,
so, did it feel like, obviously it didn't work out for you there at Washington State in terms of moving on to pro ball? Was that painful at all for you? Or you're like, I feel like I was going to go there? Or
no, not really at the time. Because, like I said, dude, like, so much of that was, like, oh, sweet, I'm going to get to go play baseball. I enjoy playing baseball, but I got my school paid for. I had fun. Like, it's probably as I've gotten older, I look back being like, God, man, I wish I would have put more work into the baseball component of it. Like,
sure,
I just never, like, I had a shot. My arm went bad. Could have done things differently. But, like, from my aspect, that wasn't what my love was. Like, football was, like, breaking your heart.
Yeah.
And I think about that from, like, like I remember PJ, I went and saw him, like, because I was traveling for work when he had his elbow issue. And we went and had drinks in Clearwater, Florida. Still remember, like, the bar. It was like a tiki bar. Like, my heart broke for PJ from a baseball perspective because that was
how much
love.
he loved it, how deeply. Yeah.
Right? Like, I got hurt and it was kind of like, whatever. I got my school paid for. Like,
yeah.
But for, like, PJ or for, like, listening to, like, Dusty's talk, like, when kind of pro ball was ending for him, like, those guys dedicated a lot of their life to that sport. Like, that wasn't that wasn't baseball for me.
Right.
I was better at baseball than I was at football
right.
when you look at, like, potential.
Sure.
But that's not what I was, like, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't passionate.
In your heart, you were still a football player. Yeah.
So.
You were like Happy Gilmore in golf and hockey.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I'm trying to, like, I'm coaching my kids and, like, I've taken a lot of stuff that I've seen from PJ or Greg Finnegan or those guys and tried to, like,
Lindsay said that. She says that you reach out to, like, some of your, like, circle of athlete friends and, like, ask them advice on stuff and, like, how you coach and, like, what are you thinking about this? And
I've always done that. That's in life. But I'll tell you, man, I reached out, like, when I got out of college, Coach Leonard was a guy I reached out to, like, hey, what made you successful?
Yeah.
And just calling and just, like, I love picking the brains of different people that have done something very well.
I love that.
And, like, how did you get great at your craft?
Yeah.
And, like, because you can pull nuggets out of whatever. Doesn't matter if that's your craft or, like, they all have similar characteristics in some way.
Yeah, I love that. Let's move on. Before we get to, like, kind of our random questions here, let's do some our Lindsay corner here. So we have some great clips from her, and I saw her on the playground the other day. We pick up our kids at the same time, and she said, I put a clip out or a reel of her talking about you guys, and she said it was a cool moment for you guys because you don't normally tell your spouse how great they are, like, as a father and all these things. So it was cool for you to hear some of those things that she said here. So let's go ahead and start off with team player.
Do you have anything more on him as a dad or a husband or anything like that you think would be nice to share?
He is an awesome, like, he is an incredible husband and dad. He really is. He is 100% invested all the time. Like, he's in it. He has always put us first. I'd never question whether or not he does. Most of his decisions surround us and fun stuff. Like, he's definitely the kids joke that I'm the fun killer and Brad is the fun dad. That is definitely a thing in our house. Brad is more fun. He organizes the vacations. He says yes to way more than I do. I'm definitely more strict. The great thing I will say, since we have known each other for as long as we have, if there is something that he is not amazing at, or something that he knows is a weakness, he puts in the time. Like, he really, really does. So if I have an issue or I'm like, hey, this is not this aspect is not working in our family dynamic, or he works to fix it. Like, he really does. He's like, all right, heard, I got it. Like, he's a great team player. I don't mean that in a cheesy way, but he really is. Like, it's not like, hey, it's my way or the highway. He's super, super great about that.
That's a cool clip, man. You got anything?
Nah, man, it's that's probably get a little bit more emotional on that, just from Lindsay and I've been together forever, right? So
Long time, dude.
And created a family and an awesome family, but like she's got this amazing set of parents. I've got this amazing set of parents, and like family to me is everything.
Yeah.
Right. So like I've been very fortunate in my life on some of the stuff from a business perspective and other things. Like, dude, all that could go away tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like, I always think of like, what's your obituary going to say? It's not going to say shit about what you did professionally. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to talk about what type of father you were, what type of husband, what type of friend, right? Like, that's the stuff that people will remember. And so that stuff's important to me. I will tell you, one thing that has shaped my life, like, my dad's brother died. He was one of those guys that, like, very, very responsible financially, invested everything, probably didn't do as much stuff or take as much, like, vacations and that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden retires, and it's like, hey, we're going to go do all this stuff. He died of a brain tumor like 6 months later.
Right.
And like, I remember that kind of stuck in me. Like, you still have to be responsible. You still have to, like, invest for the future, make sure your family's set up, all that kind of stuff. But like, dude, you got to live in the present a little bit.
Live your life now. Yeah.
And so Lindsay and I have a lot of fun with our kids. Like, we love traveling. We love checking things out. Like,
that's cool.
To me, it's all about like experiencing something and trying something new, or going and checking. Like, I check the kids. I know we're probably way past time, so I apologize. But like,
no, dude,
I'll tell you. So my Bodie comes in. Back to the Bodie talk. Yeah. This is years ago, and he says, "Dad, I got bad news. I'm not a Cubs fan." And I'm like, like around here, where do you think that's going? And I'm like,
"You got bad news."
So you're a Cardinals fan? And then he's like, "No, I hate the Cardinals. They suck." And I'm like, "All right, that's my kid."
We're okay.
He goes, "I'm a Yankees fan," and I'm like, "That's stupid," And I'm like, "Why?" And so he goes, "Well, they're the winningest team of all time. I read it in a book in the library." I'm like, "Yeah, but don't be a front runner." So anyways, last year I take my two boys to the World Series at New York Stadium.
Bad news.
Yankees.
Yeah.
So like that's a moment my kid's experiencing every cuss word known to man in the bleachers at Yankee Stadium. But that's like, dude, like the Inside Out movie, like that's a core memory.
Yeah.
That I will have for the rest of my life. And so like, it's just stuff like that. I think we do a really good job of trying to like experience everything, but like the important things.
I love that, dude. And you showed me a picture the other day. You took your kids to a Cubs playoff game or something?
Yeah, Cubs playoff game.
Sick. And then I saw your wife dropping those kids off late the next day. So they had a late night, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I almost tissed her. I was like, I know what you guys were doing last night.
No, but that stuff, man, like.
It's worth it, dude.
Dude, like, don't you remember, like, and I don't know, you're a Cubs fan, right?
Braves fan.
Braves fan, okay. Chipper Jones, I'll give you that. Like, but you still remember that as a kid, dude. I remember when my dad took us to the bleachers at Wrigley, like.
I have fond memories of Wrigley and Busch.
Or Busch Stadium, like all that stuff, but, like, you remember those moments.
Absolutely.
With your family. Like,
burned into my brain.
You don't remember the dumb shit they bought you for Christmas.
Nope.
Right?
Don't.
Like, but you remember those moments of, like, I went to the World Series with my dad. Like stuff like that, or my daughter. Like my daughter and I started doing a thing. We go to Broadway plays in New York. Like
beautiful.
To me, I'm like, those are moments that they'll remember forever.
Never forget it.
Yeah,
good for you, man. I love that. And I saw before we were even kind of chatting much. I saw obviously my wife. No, I and your wife pick up the kids at the same time at Owen Marsh sometimes, and I saw this little kid running around in a Vikings jersey, and I was like, that's the most Brad Selinger kid I've ever seen in my life with red hair.
David.
Yep. I was like, I know this kid is a Selinger. I don't have to ask.
Yep.
And I was like, who's your daddy? And he was like, I was like, okay, yeah, I know it. All right, let's go. Next one. This is football to baseball, Lindsay.
So he started out at Lindenwood.
Yeah.
And he was super excited for a couple reasons, mostly because he kind of chose his spot based on how much money he was going to receive. because that was really important to him. You know, his parents were not going to be able to fully fund college. So having it paid for was key. And then also having the, like, possibility that he was going to be able to actually play, you know, not just, like, attend a school and sit the bench. And then he got injured. And I can tell you, too, like, when he went to Lindenwood, I think it was a little bit of, like, a shock of, like, oh, my gosh, I'm one of the only people left on campus on the weekends. Like, he didn't realize how much of a commuter school it was. So that was a little jarring as a freshman, like, trying to kind of, like, acclimate yourself to that freshman college life, but then everybody wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I was at ISU, so he used to drive up and visit me quite a bit. But, yeah, and then he ended up hurting his shoulder. And then that's when I think he really started to reconsider football, even though that is, he'll tell you, I mean, football was like his number one. Football was his favorite. He absolutely loved football. I think that's what he was most passionate about. But then somewhere along the line, it was like, all right, maybe I need to give it a shot with baseball. And that's kind of what happened with Torricelli.
Echoed everything you said. Totally unrelated. I do this when I'm watching football, like on Sundays and stuff. I have to, like, have a football in my hands. I'm sitting there spinning it. You got a football around the house hanging around?
Dude, I have like 18 of them. So to this day, like, I don't
knew it.
I would say almost every day I either have a baseball, a basketball, or football. Like, and that's probably just because I can't sit still. But like,
knew it. Love it. This next one is going to be Life Be Like.
So busy. So busy. Like, it's, and I look at some of our our friends' families who they're way busier. Like, they have 2, 3 kids, multiple kids in competitive sports, and we're not even to that level. And just having the 3 older ones, so we have 12, 10, 7, and 3. So obviously the 3-year-old just goes along for the ride. But our 12-year-old she plays 2 sports at Franklin Middle School. And, you know, school ball at that level is a lot busier. So, you know, she has multiple games a week, practice 5 days a week. So she plays basketball in the fall and volleyball in the winter. And then Bodie plays basketball and baseball, sometimes an indoor soccer round. Ava plays soccer and basketball and baseball. So it's just, and they're different ages, so they're not on the same team. Brad coaches Bodie's SSBA team. And always has for a while. And then he coaches Ava's basketball team with another dad. So he's always, and he was heavily involved in Sutton's coaching when she was growing up too. He and another parent would always coach basketball or whatever, you know, whatever thing they had going on, he would always take around. And so between practice and, you know, homework and just squeezing in music class, you know, music lessons, and his job requires a fair amount of travel. So when he travels, he's usually gone Tuesday through Thursday. So it's a lot. Yeah, it is. But he's really great. He always has been about doing, and as he's gotten older, Blake, he's able to say no a little bit more than he used to be when, you know, when he was just taking a new role or he had a different boss. He felt like he had to be all the places all the time. And now he's getting much better about, you know what, I don't need to be in Seattle this week. Or I don't need to go to Chicago for this. I can put it on someone else. And he's always really good about coming home as soon as he can, which I greatly appreciate, because if he can catch a flight out of Seattle at 6 and be home by midnight, he will do it, and then he'll just drive home.
Love that. I got one more clip unless you got anything to say on that. All right, last one is story time.
Well, first thing I thought of when I read that, he did cut my hair in sophomore year geometry class. He sat behind me and chopped off a chunk of my hair. Like in an attempt to like flirt. So you can ask him about that one. It didn't go well. I don't think it landed how he wanted it to land. So there's that. But he also he coaches the kids, right? And this is like, I joke with him about this all the time. He does, he does Bodie's baseball. He helps out even if he's not the coach. And parents come up to me all the time and they're like, is he really as patient and like laid back as he is on the field? And I literally laugh in their face. I'm like, oh my God, no. Like, not at all. Like, Brad's best self is coaching. I'm not saying he's the best coach. That's not what I'm saying. But he does give it his all, but he is the first one to lose his patience at home. He is not, but he will when it is in that element. He really does he's so patient with these kids, and he really wants the best for them, and he is so big about look, guys, this is not just about winning an SSBA baseball game, right? You need to learn how to listen. You need to learn how to control yourself. You need to learn how to keep your bag organized. It is so much more than that. So he is so great about that. But I do constantly remind the other parents, no, he absolutely not. He has pulled the wool over your eyes, because he'll go home and he will be so mad that they lost. But he will not. He won't let the kids down. So that's good.
Let's pause it right there and go.
Sophomore year of high school, lack of game right there. I don't know. I mean, cutting a girl's hair, you think it's going to, I mean, I guess it worked, but.
Where did you think that one was going to go?
You know what? There was a large portion of my life, I don't know if there was any thinking involved. Just straight stupidity.
Oh, man. Okay, here we go.
You know what's fun? Actually.
It didn't go well.
What we got?
What's funny is her dad, had I thought this through, if I actually had any thinking, her dad's about 6'2", 225 martial artist. So, that tells you how little lack of thinking I actually had in that process.
All right. Lindsay's letting us behind the curtain there.
Yeah, well, some of that, from I hate losing.
Sure.
Right? And so some of these teams these days, I lean with Greg Taylor. I listen to his thing.
Yeah.
I think the whole youth sports stuff is broken in such a massive way, from an aspect that I feel like there's so many parents living through their kids.
Yeah.
What I accomplish is what I accomplish.
Well
what
said.
my dad accomplished is what he accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad never forced it on me.
Right.
What I think my dad did, and I think about this all the time. I talk to some of the parents. My dad was great at giving proximity to the sport, meaning he took me to games.
Yeah.
So then I developed a love because I watched these kids, these older kids, and I wanted to do it. So then I went to the front yard to play.
Oh, I love that.
Where my brothers and I played, and my brothers were instrumental in playing with me. But that proximity to the sport, I think, is so critical for these kids. Mm-hmm. And you don't see what you saw talking about in the North and all of us playing football and baseball and wiffle ball.
Not anymore.
Dude, we played in my house. We had our backyard was right-handed wiffle ball. We would literally create a dirt mound in my yard. My dad would be so mad. We would tarp it if rain was coming, and the front yard was left-handed wiffle ball. But and that's what my brothers and I grew up playing. We played football. We played all this stuff. But dude, kids are so busy these days.
Yeah.
They're burning these kids out, man. 50+ games a year.
Yep.
At a young age.
Yeah, dude.
And they all expect this and so from my aspect, I've told my kids all the time, I don't pretend to be, what Canadians have accomplished. You're talking legit pro ball or PJ or some of these guys, but I think I know what I'm talking about to some degree.
Sure.
I've told my kids all the time, I will never push you on it. If you want to get there, you come to me and then I will help you.
Well said.
Right?
Yeah.
But I am not going to push that down from that aspect. And there's a difference in kids, man. You have multiple kids. Bodie and Avid are different kids. They both have the potential to be really special in sports. I'm telling and I know I'm a dad saying that, but
I'm sure you can see it.
They got the bodies. They got there's things you see, right? But they're wildly different.
Yeah.
Avid could play 23 out of the 24 hours out of a day. Mm-hmm. Bodie doesn't want to go more than 60 minutes, and then he wants to go play Army in the Woods and then dig and so you just have to kind of let them navigate their path.
Yeah, totally.
But I am so passionate about coaching. I coach this little team right now, Bodie's baseball team, and you watch some of these teams we play, and last year we had a couple families leave us, want to go competitive, and that's fine. I'm hey, whatever you want for your kid, that's great.
Yeah.
Every parent should do what they think's right for their kid. Yeah. As long as I coach, I have a plan of we're gonna make sure they have fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure they love the game.
Lindsay's talked about that. She said something you're adamant about there's gonna be a point where it's gonna get real serious and tough, and
we don't need to
do that to them at 7 years old, at 10 years old. We can
we
wait
had
a little bit.
We had sliding practice in my backyard on slip and slides.
That sounds fun.
And so you try to keep it to that level. But like, dude, this year, like, we had fall ball, and I think we went like 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
So we got better, you know, and all that stuff. But like, I'm still rotating kids around. They don't have set positions,
right?
And so you have some of the stuff like, I don't, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe when it's all said and done, that I'm an idiot on how I'm looking at it. But like, I look at it from my aspect of like, I think of Ryan O'Malley. I think of PJ Finnegan. Those guys played so many sports.
Yeah, they did.
Ryan O'Malley was an outstanding athlete.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was an even better person, right?
Yes.
Like, PJ played so many sports. I remember playing PJ in basketball at St. Al's. Like, I was thinking about the story the other day. He transferred to Feichens. We were both at St. Al's. He transferred to Feichens. And I thought I was pretty good in the Catholic grade school of basketball. Right. PJ went to Feichens and got a different level of basketball, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we're playing at St. Al's, and I'm like, dude, I'll take you one-on-one. Let's go. You know, like, after so it's two of us playing.
Yeah.
Pick up, competitive game. He whooped me.
Yeah.
Like, because he started, like, every time he shot a layup, I thought I could swat it.
Yeah.
He knew how to put it up just a little bit higher for people, you know.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just think of stuff like that, man. Like, you got to let these kids find their path. You got to let them play multiple sports.
Force it on them, yeah.
They're going to find what they're passionate about.
Well
like,
said.
And so much of this stuff's just getting, like, you know, hey, you got to play baseball, fall, winter, spring. They don't have time to play something else.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what their bodies are going to do.
Well said.
And you play one sport, and all of a sudden, like, 8th grade, you're like, yeah, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah, I'm burnt out. I've played 1,000 games.
Well, that's
already.
a harder jump to go play a different sport at that time.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well said. I
We'll
couldn't
see.
agree more. My little daughter is talented too. She's 6. We just had like kind of an interesting moment too of there's 7 under competitive.
Yeah.
Coach pitch. And I'm like, we're not doing this. Like, we're going to do SSBA for a couple more years, and if she shows me she wants it, then we can keep going. But we're not jumping into travel baseball at 7 years old. It seems
And normally, like, my dad wouldn't coach us.
Yeah.
He would not coach any of us, except for my sister, because they had no one volunteer to coach her grade school basketball team. And they went, like, 2 straight years. He coached 2 teams at St. Al's, 5th grade girls. They were undefeated. Like,
wow.
But, like, I don't want to coach my kids. But I'm being super protective.
You don't want someone else that doesn't know what the hell they're doing?
I don't want them to have the only option is they have to go play 50 games.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, I'm like, no, I'm going to be protective of, like, I want them to peak in high school if that's what they're passionate about. But then that's where it matters.
Sure.
Right? As opposed to being like, dude, my kid's the best, like, 4th grader there is. Like,
yeah.
Who cares?
Right, who cares? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well said, dude. Man, I'm glad we got on that. Let's get into our kind of rounded out questions. These are like some fun kind of random questions that I had for you. Some of them have been answered, so I've kind of crossed off some of them. But let's go. Favorite all-time QB?
Ooh. Professionally, I mean,
You could do high school, college, professional. Name one.
Professionally, I would say Tom Brady, because his desire to like just be great is
Another level. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone that's ever matched that.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's the easy answer. God, man, I think Ryan Leaf, I was a big fan at Washington State because he could chuck it.
Interesting, yeah.
Right? Like, he just threw it all over the place. I liked, like, if you remember back then, like, again, that wasn't a lot of spread offense.
Right.
Back in the 90s. And, like, Washington State ran that 4 wide.
Yeah.
Like, throwing it. Drew Brees, Purdue.
Oh,
like,
man,
that was,
yeah.
like, the first time you start seeing, like, a 6-foot quarterback that, like, threw it 70 times a game.
Giving us hope, yeah.
Favorite high school quarterback, like, normally I would pick someone older because you looked up to him. Like, Derek's obviously up there.
Yeah.
I thought Eric Peterman was the greatest talent.
Whew, he was special.
You know, like, and dude, you could make cases for the Brenheisen, the Greens, and all these other kids I mentioned before, but like, Peterman was a different talent. Like, his speed was electric.
And athleticism was nuts. Why are North Enders tougher than West Siders? And now you're a West Sider. Why have you abandoned the North End?
I don't know that's, you know, look, I think, man, I've had enough fights and seen enough fights. Like, I think there's tough kids from every side of town.
Yeah, I'm a West Sider. I like to think of myself as a tough guy.
Like,
So.
Timmy Wallen.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
no one's going to accuse Timmy Wallen of not being
I
tough.
think Mitrione was was the Lake area, some of those guys. But I think North Enders might be willing to mix it up a little bit quicker.
Yes. Yes.
So,
that's
like,
absolutely.
I don't know if I would ever classify it as tougher. I'm just saying they may be more.
Dude,
like,
I had some homies growing up on the North End. I go sleepovers, hang out with them sometimes. We got in fights all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I don't know that there's any difference in toughness from.
Okay.
There's tough kids and there's not tough.
Are you
kids.
getting soft here on the west side now?
Probably.
Are you an ND guy? Notre Dame?
Love-hate with Notre Dame. A little bit.
Okay.
I kind of like my ultimate thing now that I went to Washington State. Like, I obviously root for, but I root for people. Like, I know we're way past time, but like,
no, good.
I was thinking about today. Like, remember Mark Richt, the Georgia coach?
Yeah.
Like, I was a big fan of him in Georgia because he said, "I'm not going to do gray shirting."
Interesting.
Like, SEC was doing all the oversigning.
Yeah.
He would not. He refused to do it and said, "I'm gonna. If you have an offer from me, you have an offer."
Yeah, I'm with that.
It's the only coach that was doing it, and they fired him. Like, they ran him out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Right? And then you look at, like, Harbaugh. You could say whatever on the cheating stuff, but, like, if you watch that Amazon
I haven't watched it yet.
Michigan football back in the day, awesome.
Okay, I'll check
And
that
you
out.
just saw the guy that, like, loved to compete.
Yeah.
So, like, I root for some of that kind of stuff where you, like, look at people.
Yeah.
But
greatest football movie of all time?
Oh, that's a good question. Pass. I don't know.
Pass? What about Rudy?
I mean, yeah, it's a good movie.
Okay. There's not really a lot of great ones. I mean, The Program, remember that
Program.
one?
I was actually thinking of The Program.
I was raised on the Varsity Blues, The Program.
I wasn't a big Varsity Blues fan.
Program's a great one.
Yeah.
What about the greatest baseball movie?
I mean, I told you before, I'm partial. Like, I do love For the Love of the Game, but, man, there's so many great.
Is there a worse one?
I heard PJ say Summer Catch.
Everyone says Summer Catch.
Yeah.
It's my pick, too. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever play any baseball, football, video games growing up? And if yes, which ones?
100%. Well, first, I mentioned earlier, like, remember Bill Walsh's college football?
Yeah, that's an interesting reference. Yeah.
NCAA football, like old school Sega Genesis. Mm-hmm. Baseball. So I still have the original Nintendo.
Let's go.
And I got RBI baseball and Bases Loaded.
Oh, man. You got the two classics.
So I have those two games.
Is that an old Nintendo or is it one of those new systems?
No, it's old.
Oh, sick. Still works?
Still works.
Beautiful.
So I got those games. I got Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah. With is that
Mike
the one?
Tyson's Punch Out.
Is Tecmo Bowl the one that's Bo Jackson? You can't stop him. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Mike Tyson Super Punch Out?
Yeah.
Great. Not a baseball or football game, but one of the greatest games of all time. Yeah. Did you have a favorite number in either football or baseball?
So football, I did. It was 3, and I will say it was because of Ryan O'Malley.
Oh, cool.
So I wore 3. Brad Leonard's oldest brother, Phil Pearson, died going into my senior year, and Phil wore 3.
Okay.
So Brad ended up taking 3, obviously to honor his brother my senior year. So I switched to 5.
Okay.
But I started switching to 15. That was my dad's number. Like, so I, you know, that's what I wore at Washington State.
Did you have a baseball? Did you have a glove brand of choice that you liked or anything like that? Or loyal to?
We had Washington State. I mean, that was, again, what was like cool with Washington State. You had all the contracts, right? So my first year out there, I had Rawlings Heart of the Hide.
Nice.
Loved the glove. Still have it. And then we switched to, what is it, Wilson?
A2000s?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
You know.
Thoughts on long toss?
I like it. I don't know this to be true because I wasn't around PJ enough as he grew up. But I seem to remember PJ and Greg, like, they were religious about long toss, but like hard long toss.
Yeah, long on the line. I remember PJ.
And PJ, and he talked about it in his thing. Like, PJ growing up, he was a special athlete, but his arm wasn't the strongest arm.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, dude, like around high school, or senior year.
Dude, he was electric as a senior.
Then he started pumping.
Like 90, 91 with like movement and sync.
And I think like
what's going
kind of
on?
through college and even into like the pro ball, like I think he was like mid-90s.
Yeah, he was a legit prospect.
And he also had one of the nastiest changeups I've ever seen. PJ's changeup was just
Bugs Bunny. Yeah, bye-bye.
Right? So like I still think if I was to like develop my kid's arm, there's a couple things I'm going to do. Long toss because of the Finnegans.
Yeah.
Right? Watching that. But I'm going to have them do squats and like leg lifting and core. So like you think of like Pilates.
For sure.
And that kind of stuff. Like I think that is how you build an arm from, you know, basically from your knees up to your stomach and long toss.
I love it. Do you have a favorite all-time baseball player?
Kerry Wood from a pitching perspective because
you
could say Greg Maddux too, but like Kerry Wood was, dude, like for me, I
Your
wanted to
favorite.
have.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like the power fastball with the nasty breaking ball, and there wasn't a whole lot of guys at that time throwing 100 miles an hour.
No, he
like
was
there were
so
some.
special. Yeah.
Right now, it seems like it's like every.
It's the norm now, but not then. Him and Mark Pryor were special, and I remember that like 19 or 20K game he had.
Like when Bobby Jinks came onto the scene. Remember,
Bobby
like
Jenks.
it was like the legend, like just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. 100 used to be a lot more rare.
The other two, and I know you only asked me for one, but like Cal Ripken is probably my all-time favorite player, just for everything he embodied.
Yeah.
But like Tim Hewitt used to tell stories about Cal, like he was just a special athlete, like no matter what sport he played.
Yeah, just one of those guys.
And then Ken Griffey, like how do you not love like the kid?
Man,
right?
never
Chipper
been a cooler.
Chipper Jones.
Never been a cooler player than Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah,
just iconic. Favorite or no greatest? Who's in your opinion greatest hitter of all time? Greatest pitcher of all time?
I mean, I'm gonna go.
There's no wrong answer. It's your thoughts.
Ken Griffey to me, I still think it's the best baseball player of all time. I mean, I know he was just so amazing. You know, like a 5-tool guy.
Just imagine if he hadn't had some of those injuries, like where some of his stats would have
dove
been.
into the field and stuff like that. It's hard to how you want to classify favorite hitter though, or like best hitter. Like Tony Gwynn could be up there from just pure hitting, right, from that aspect. But like Ken Griffey was just amazing. Pitching wise, honestly, dude, I have to go like Greg Maddux was the greatest pitcher of all time.
I'm with it.
I mean, I may have like a special 2 at Randy Johnson because he was 100 miles an hour with a slider. It was like 94.
Yeah, ridiculous.
You know? It was like, again, back when people didn't do that.
Yeah, the big unit. Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it?
I don't know. That depends on what you're asking.
I ask every guest that, and just randomly because I like to throw them off. It's a weird question. All right. Who did you grow up rooting for, baseball wise? Was it always Cubs?
Yeah, it was always Cubs. Well, it was Cubs, and then it was the Orioles though. Like,
Cal.
We went out as a kid. My dad was took us to DC, you know, from like work for politically on some stuff. But we went to a Orioles game, and like Tim Hewitt was playing, so like that was a really big deal. There was a guy from Springfield. They had the cool hats with the bird. You know, Cubs, like diehard Cubs.
Who were some of your favorite Cubs guys growing up?
Mark Grace,
Rhino.
Schwan Dunston, Andre
Dunston.
Dawson. You know, like God, like I mean, you just go through the list of stuff. Like you remember when they even had like Kenny Lofton when they were at the Bartman years, and like Moises Alou, Derek May, you know, Sosa, dude, he had that awesome swing.
He did, man, loved it. Like I said, I mentioned earlier that I saw that little kid on the playground wearing the Vikings uniform. That's the most Brad Selinger kid I've ever seen. Are you guys Vikings fans?
No.
What's up there?
He likes Justin Jefferson. I will tell you though. So Lindsay's cousin is Adrian Tice.
Oh, cool.
Her dad is Mike Tice, the old head coach of the Vikings.
Yeah.
So like, got to know Mike pretty well, and text about once a week or so on stuff. And Mike interacted with my kids in just one of the most wholesome ways you've ever seen. Offered to call like the NFL for like checking on the flag football league, and
cool.
Like, so you see this guy. He's still the biggest coach ever in the history of the NFL. He's like 6'8", 325.
Yeah.
You know, played tight end 14 years. He played, and how he treated my kids, man, like
beautiful.
You're talking about a guy that he coached for 21 years in the NFL and played for 14.
Yeah.
You know,
and doing stuff like that.
You may have some people that have egos with those type of stats.
Not him.
It's like the way he interacts with my kids is like out of this world.
Oh, beautiful. What do I have here? So, well, then who do you root for then? NFL
Bears.
Bears guy?
Unfortunately.
Same. What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams?
No, not
terrible.
A fan? Terrible.
You're over it? You ready to get him out?
I didn't want him drafted in the first. Dude, they never put a line in place to block for Justin Fields.
That's true.
So like, just putting someone in there that's very similar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I hope he's the greatest quarterback in the history of the world. I hope the Bears win it every year.
Yep.
There's
been a trail of tears of Bears quarterbacks. Not a believer?
No.
Do you have a most memorable punch out of all time? Punching someone out.
I don't think I have a most memorable moment. I will say, this is kind of corny. It sounds stupid, but like man, I've had some moments on the mound where like I was pumping, and you could stand on a mound and you knew nobody could hit you.
Yeah.
Like, and that I don't know if you could ever replicate that feeling of like it doesn't matter what they try.
Yeah.
They're not doing it.
No, that is a powerful
like,
feeling.
That is one thing I've just remembered from my baseball career. Like when I had those special moments.
Sure.
You know, not the moments where they hit 3 home runs off me. Like, you know, you had those others. Like, those guys could hit the fastball. But
sure. Give me you and PJ are obviously deeply connected, boys, best buds. Do you have a favorite PJ story that you could share? Or just anything about PJ you want to share?
I got a funny story on PJ. I got so many PJ stories. Like, and I did, you know, again, I kind of went off. They did the Statesman stuff. They actually got better players to play. So, you know, I just kind of went that way.
Yeah.
PJ, I think this might have been Danville too. He hit a home run. PJ wasn't like a big home run guy. Great hitter, like phenomenal hitter. PJ hit a home run and he bat flipped it, like I mean big time. And the next time up, he gets drilled. And so like we're all coming up, like we're like, because we suck. So it was like, what else are we gonna do? Like,
let's fight.
It's like Days of Confused. We were gonna drink beer and try to beat somebody up.
Almost out of beer, right?
We start to come out like because we're like, all right, he just hit PJ. Let's go. And PJ's like laughing. He's like, oh no,
it's no big deal.
Go back in the dugout. I deserved it for bat flipping. But that was like PJ, like because PJ I think respected the game.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
He bat flipped and he kind of knew. Like
he knew I shouldn't have done that.
So he was just like, whatever. Like that's totally. I mean, there's so many good PJ stories, man. But that guy, I'll tell you,
that guy.
It's a great podcast you did on him.
Thank you so much. Did you check out 3?
I did. Where he's sitting in his like sweatshirt in his office.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. You got thoughts on the Savannah Bananas?
Savannah Bananas. I like it from the aspect of I get it's not quote unquote like traditional baseball. My kids have been there. We've seen them in Savannah. We saw them at Busch Stadium. It keeps kids interested. Like I've taken my kids to like professional games. Like no, they were great. They were great at the playoff game for the Cubs or the World Series. Like regular season.
I'm
games,
sure their
man,
interest would be more on the Bananas
like
than a real baseball
inning,
game.
It's kind of like
we're over it. Yeah,
like,
I get it, Dad.
You know, go get me something to eat or whatever. With
Where's
the
the kids'
Bananas,
corner?
man, they're like in it.
Yeah.
You know, so the only thing I don't like about it is, and I don't think this is just Bananas. Like I'm still of the belief, like stop all the like. You know, we're playing like 7-year-olds and they got sliding gloves and
all the drip,
all the stuff. Where you're just like, dude, like those are probably like again back to how I pitch was like, okay, I would have hit that kid,
right?
But like now you're in a spot like, well, I would have to hit everyone on the team and I'd be out. You know, they'd pull me for pitching so bad. So
I get you. Do you ever have athletic dreams, either as a baseball player or a football?
Oh yeah, all the time, man.
What are they?
I mean, some of them are back right in playing different places and. Could be high school, college. Could be like the pros that I never made it to. Like just.
Is it more football than baseball, or one or the other?
No, it's all over, dude. Like, it's all over.
Yeah.
I have been so blessed by sports. What sports has impacted my life, and it doesn't matter if you're talking, like I said, hockey or basketball or football or baseball. Like, there's just those moments I've had for every sport where I cherish. So like, and I'm in the business world where sports teaches you so much. I don't think that could ever. It teaches you how to be a team player, goal-oriented, how to face adversity, how to deal with setbacks, like how to, it's just there's so much stuff that like not everyone's a sport person.
Sure.
But man, sports is like special, and it also teaches you how to interact with people of all walks of life.
Yeah.
Like you try to build a team and you try to be a leader on a team. Like you gotta include everybody. You gotta like be open to different opinions and different ideas.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like such a fortunate life of like a sports career that I've had. So it's pretty cool. Dude,
I got nothing else for you.
Yeah.
We're at the end.
Hey, I want to tell you this, man. What you're doing is outstanding. I think the effort, the work you put into this is amazing.
I appreciate it. I do put my heart in this.
I mean this wholeheartedly. Like, there's so much goodness I know you're doing it national, but like Springfield and the surrounding area is such a special place for like.
I'll always be rooted here. Always. Yep.
And kind of shining the light on it like you have is pretty special.
Thank you. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, I will always be rooted in Springfield, Illinois, in Central Illinois. These are the stories that mean something to me, that are near and dear to my heart. Like, I couldn't tell the same story about someone that I didn't know. Like I saw Brad Selinger play high school football. Like I remember watching that arm, and that was like this spark in my head of like, 20 years later, we're sitting here, right? Yeah. Because I was like enamored by your arm.
I remember you playing, dude. Like I still remember, like a confident kid.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Competitive kid.
Thank you, buddy.
So.
Hey, an honor to hear that from you. I'm going to keep going. This has been awesome sitting down with you and hearing kind of your story. I always wondered. I always thought it was fascinating. Like, how did this guy go from the best football arm I've ever seen to, he's playing at Washington State, and now I'm seeing little Brad Selingers run around. I'm like, what's the story here? How did that end up? Because I guess I always thought when I first read that article that Brad's pumping like mid-90s. Like, okay, Brad's going to be in pro ball in a year or two, and then you don't see many innings that Washington. You're like, what happened? So now we know what happened.
Yeah, I know what happened.
Yeah, that's the story. So thank you for giving me some of your time, brother. Thank you to everyone out there listening. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. I hope you guys enjoy this. This is going to be the Brad Selinger story. You got anything else?
No, thanks, man. Thanks to everyone for listening. All 6 of the people are going to hear my story. So I think on your other ones, they're packed, right? But we'll see. So thank you.
This is going to be great. All right, man. We're going to be out. Post-game spread. We're out.